Oh, well, it's Sunday evening, afternoon slash early evening for some folks. Welcome, everybody. Got GW here in the fine house, and he almost didn't make it because I forgot to send a link out to him. So he didn't even ping me either. So yeah, that's kind of funny. Um, we got a lot of folks in here, and it looks like somebody's asked about Randy. So we'll talk about Randy here in a minute. I'm assuming he might join, but not join the stream, but join the chat at least. Michael Kruger, all good. Christopher Blaine, Vernez, I think is how you pronounce that. Junk Closet, and looks like it's everybody in there so far. Evening, everybody. Thank you for joining. And I mean, we kind of normally just start this out as a a recap of how the week went for myself. Kind of what happened the week, maybe, how much did I make during the week, and then maybe just kind of recap what I made for the month so far. GW can kind of chime in on his story for last week, where he's sitting at for the month. We do have a guest tonight lined up, Market Scraper, and he should be coming on here in about 15 or 20 minutes or so. So we can kind of pick his brain, just like we had Investing Teacher last week, and we kind of picked his brain. So let's see here. Just to talk about Randy real quick. Randy is home. He's recovering. He was on the private stream last night. He looks great. He's back in good spirits. I'm sure he was a little pissed he didn't get a freaking helicopter ride home, but he is home. He looks good. He went on a spending spree and basically spent his day's premium. So hopefully he'll join the chat tonight. He should. I mean, I would be surprised if he didn't. But let's see. My week, I ended up $1,900 up for the week, and for the month, I'm up $35.59. We still have roughly 2 weeks left. Actually, that's pretty impressive, huh, Jerry? 2 more weeks left. I'm probably going to break $5,000 is my guess. Maybe even, I don't think I'll hit 6 unless I get really aggressive, but I should hit north of $5,000 this month. And I'm pretty happy about that, considering that is my 2% goal. And, we've, obviously lost a lot of premium just because the VIX is being so low. So I'm actually pretty excited about that. If I can hit those numbers being, kind of doing what I've been doing, then it kind of gives me a little bit of confidence going forward that I can hit my numbers and not have to be, a freaking thumper aggressive. So why don't you go ahead and talk about your week and your month, Jerry, and then I'll kind of hit some of these new people that just showed up here. Thanks a lot for that super chat there. I guess it's a super sticker. So thanks a lot for that super sticker. I appreciate it. It actually doesn't show the super sticker, which is kind of funny, but
no, but yeah, had a good week. Ended up almost $1,650. I did have some leaps and a roll there. So new money wise, I was up about $700 for the week. What else? For the month, I think I'm over. Yeah, I'm over $2,300 for the month so far. So excited about that. Definitely a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Kind of probably like how you were feeling too. I didn't think things were going to be as good as they are. So I'll definitely take it. The VIX I notice is falling some more today in futures. So I don't know how that's going to affect us. It didn't really affect us a whole lot last week, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm excited for it. Week was good, and let's get another one under our belts.
Yeah. So what do you mean the VIX? So you're saying the VIX is falling right now, or do you say the VIX fell last week?
No, I'm seeing on futures on Yahoo. Yahoo has a VIX futures.
Okay.
And it's showing
so the VIX is down right now?
It says it's down 2% or something like that.
When the market's up, when the market's up, the VIX should go down. If the VIX is going up and the market's up, that's a red flag. definitely be weary if that's happening. Right now, the market's down and the VIX is down. That is a disconnect, folks. That's something to be, I wouldn't say to be concerning about that, but that's not the way it should work. It should be, the fear indicator shouldn't be going down when the market's going down. So that just, we'll see what happens tomorrow, but that's a red flag in probably a different way, but
yeah, it's still early in the day though.
yeah, exactly. The market could be up 500 points by the time we wake up. So take it with a grain of salt. Let's see. Yeah, we did talk about Randy here. Gage, hey, welcome here. Richard, MDB, starting off the questions already. Yeah, we haven't got to questions yet here. Let's see here. Michael Kruger, how's everybody doing? Hit that like. Hey, I appreciate that. You guys, I mean, hopefully you get value out of this. We're not asking for donations here or anything. I mean, I appreciate it. It pays for the StreamYard software so we can break even, right? This is all about trying to share the knowledge that we've picked up and learned over the years and try to get people more into options and selling options premium. Why not get that cheat code under your belt, right? You can outperform the market with ease because the market's going up, like you're gonna be making money real quick and you just put more premium on. So yeah, definitely. We're trying to share our stories, trying to get more people on to share their stories as well. I know somebody requested Thumper, and I pretty much, tried to beat him to a dead pulp last night to get him to come on, and he hasn't agreed, but he hasn't disagreed. So, so hopefully I can get him on maybe next weekend. Lord Slade, hey, haven't seen you in a while. I think I saw you here last week, but hey. Glad to have you in the house. We got all good as always. She was third. Just kidding. We got your wife here, and we got all good. Futures down. Yeah, they're down 100 points right now. Not really worried about it. It's like Gerry said. It's really, I mean, it's nothing. I mean, the market just opened 3 hours ago, so futures did anyway. I'm not really worried about it. We're kind of overextended. I've taken, I don't know, like $130,000 out of my 401k and stuck it in the money market in the 401k. So it's kind of just getting, doesn't mean everybody else should do that. It just means, hey, I'm getting ready to retire, folks. I'm, just being cautious for myself here. And, obviously overall gains is not the most important thing for me. It's about capital preservation. So stat cash and shit going on sale soon, no doubt. Yeah, I think having some dry powder on the side is a smart thing to do. It's probably always a smart thing to do unless you, got 20 or 30 years, something like that until retirement. Then, I think just going all in is probably the way to go. But Damien, hey, greetings to you. We do have Market Scraper in the background here. So I will bring him on here in just a few minutes, just trying to get to the bottom here, answer any questions before we bring him on, because it's hard to get to questions when we have a guest on. We don't want to just sit there and keep him on the sidelines. And so it's hard to get to the questions. Funny guys, I was first. Yeah, you were. But I went in there and deleted your comment. Just kidding, I didn't. I don't even know if I can do that, honestly. I am very glad to see Gerry and David back on. We were here last week. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Come on, Cletus.
I think I was here.
CCP crashed BTC last night briefly. Chinese Communist Party, baby. I know what it means.
Is Bitcoin a buy right now?
Just to mention BTC, that is so speculative. If you actually think that it's that it can't be manipulated, you got another thing coming. Why do you think we got off the gold standard? Partially the reason why we got off the gold standard, because it could be manipulated. It wasn't a big enough, market cap or whatever to service the world. That's the problem with BTC as well. It could be manipulated by one country, really. So that's an issue. That's the reason why I would probably never replace the currency of any country. I hope you can't hear that dog in the background. It's quite a ways away from me, but the owners are bad parents. Let's see here. With cash secured puts, those premiums, do they come as cash in your account? Yes, they do. So if you sell a bunch of covered calls, you get that cash, and then you later buy them back, you might actually be negative in your account if you've used that money. Same thing with puts.
Yeah, cash is yours immediately when you sell.
Exactly. So you could actually leverage it by buying stocks, or even buying leaps or something. I mean, leaps would be probably too expensive, but set to reinvestment drip. Um, well, I don't know how most brokers do, but like M1, like it probably would put that money to use, but you can't sell options in M1, so it's not an issue, right? But maybe there is some brokers out there that sees you have free cash and they're going to want to, oh shoot, you got free cash, we're going to put that in dividend stocks, right? Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know of any broker that would actually do that, because TD Ameritrade, the money comes into like a secondary bucket. It's like a holding bucket. That's where dividends go, and that money's the money gets reinvested, not money coming in from options, right? So, well, here is Randy here, and I don't know. I missed this one, and I know I'll probably forget to come back to it too. Please discuss when and how to know if it's time to buy back a put. Well, if you're up 80%, buy it back. If you're up 50, 60, 70%, buy it back. That's simple.
But there's a caveat. There's a caveat to this one.
Yeah, I sold a mid-August put. Didn't last week we tell you not to go to long dated stuff? And then later on in Randy's Discord during the week, we saw you getting into long dated stuff. What's going on there? In your defense, if you put it on before last week's live stream, then that's fine. But everyone told me to buy it back. How do you decide to buy? Was he down? Was he up?
No, he's up.
He's up. Buy it back. Well, it's only 10%. I mean, I don't know. Shit.
Yeah, the problem comes in is time. So if you end up down 30% this week, for instance, in that put, and it never recovers until July, you just locked up that buying power all that month and did nothing. So it's that's why you don't like long dated stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't, like I said, last week we talked about it, 30 to 45 days, 60 days probably at the most. I have done some stuff on TQQQ going out to June, but that's because I want to get to those lower strikes that they offer. But there's a lot of other stuff here. Yeah, we got Matt in the house. We got Stock Ninja in the house. He's willing to come on, so we can get him on anytime. He's he'll stay up till like 1 o'clock in the morning and stuff to come on. So we got Citizen of the Year, which hasn't brought up NIO yet, so that's a win for us. Vacation in Portland together, boys. I ain't going to Portland. It's a little too crazy for me out in Portland. Let's see here. Not unless somebody wants to take me on a date out in Portland. Just met with my accountant and drink a drug. Accountant, what drink or drug do you recommend to take away the pain?
Edibles.
I just got done paying $23K to the freaking IRS last week, so I feel your pain. And luckily, I had money set aside. I took my bonus I just got paid that didn't make it even in anywhere. So I just like, you know what? I'm not going to see this money technically, and it makes the pain a little bit easier. If you're not setting money aside when you're doing options, if you're making a crap load of money doing options, and you have a 9-to-5 job, your 9-to-5 job does not know about that other income. Okay. So it's taxing you for whatever income you're making at your 9-to-5 job. So it doesn't know about this other income over here. So it's only taking out the amount appropriate for that, right? So guess what? You're gonna get stuck, pinned with a humongous freaking bill at the end of the year when it comes tax time. And if you're not having any money set aside, you're gonna have to take money out of your brokerage account, which I recommend not doing. It's demoralizing to do that. So have money set aside every month if you can. You know what I mean? You get paid, $3,000 a freaking week or month or whatever. Take 500 of that out or something. Or if you get, you're making $5,000 in options, take 2 of that out every month and stick in another account. Just speaking from experience here. Anyways, you know what? At 7:15, why don't we get Market Scraper on? And honestly, I don't even know if I know his real name.
I don't either.
I don't know if he's ever shared it either. So we will get to your questions here. If you do have any questions, we'll come back to them. And if I don't make it to those questions, just slap me or something, and I'll get back to them. Just point them out to me. Yeah, Thumper, you've pretty much agreed to come on next week, so I appreciate that. We do got Market Scraper on here. I don't know why I put him to the bottom. Let's do this. How about that?
Yo, what up, guys?
I don't know. I mean, is your name shared on YouTube at all? Or if it's not, that's fine. You don't have to tell
it's more like, you see a wild Market Scraper Pokemon, Market Scraper. No, I just go by, Market Scraper, call him Marquette, whatever you want.
Oh, so it's Mark?
Not really. Maybe it is.
Okay. So if you don't share your name, that's fine. I didn't know if you shared it on your channel. I feel
like I know you guys, and like, admittedly, I haven't been watching Gerry's content too much recently, but I've, all my life experience and like advice I've gotten was all from the series, Real Talks. When are you going to start that back, Gerry?
Oh man, that's old school.
Like TV.
You're bringing up some old stuff. Yeah. I don't know. I think when I retire, I'll do more of that stuff. When I fully retire.
Too. The rants in the car.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My or whatever. Hey, you reached out to me about a week ago and said, hey, can I come on? I'm like, yeah, I have, investing teacher coming on this week. I'm like, how about next weekend? And you came on. Appreciate it. I know that you kind of dabbled in options. We want to hear your story. How did you find out about options? Like, where did you first hear that term, and where did you first learn about it? What study did you watch? Videos? Did you watch? Did you look at websites? Did you read books? I mean, was it me? It's like, so how did you find out about it? What did you do first? Was it covered calls? Was it puts? And then maybe you can kind of talk about more detail, like, what your strategy is and all that. Days to expiration. Do you like the put side? Do you like the call side? Do you do anything else like spreads and, what tickers? And you can start out by just introducing yourself. He does have a channel, people, Market Scraper. He started out as a viewer and then he started a channel, right? Because I believe you were, following a lot of us commenting before you even started a channel, right? And you won a bunch of, I think, giveaways and stuff, and then you started your own channel, and then you blew up. So,
yeah. So that was a lot to unpack there. But I guess how was it? How did I first heard about selling options essentially? So actually, my brother, that's all he does. He sells options. I think he's doing more of the wheel, basically. That's what he does. And I knew he had this goal of whether it was like 1,000 a week, something like that. He's more aggressive. He has a smaller portfolio relatively to many, but and so younger brother. And then, however, the first time I started to think about doing it, because that wasn't like any encouraging, I was like, okay, well, what does he know? But right. Basically, actually, when Investing Sensei started to do his series about options and his basically his wheel strategy, that's kind of when I was like, okay, I need to pay attention to what's going on here. And of course, I learned a lot from watching your channel, watching these streams along the way. But mostly with selling options was basically just actually doing it, running into problems, kind of figure out what I want to do, what I don't want to do, and that's kind of finally found my niche. And where was that niche exactly? So basically, my strategy for my investing portfolios, and so my main portfolio, which I actually implement the strategy on, the goal there is to simply beat the S&P 500, beat the market, and or beat any other ETF. Because, like, for example, not that I'm saying that ARK Invest is going to do so well, but for example, if there's an ETF that's out there that actually ends up outperforming me, why am I managing my portfolio? Just that kind of concept, whether it's the S&P 500, whatever that might be. So my concept there is, okay, my portfolio is going to try to beat the S&P 500, and then now I want to beat my own portfolio now, simply speaking, right? Using options to beat my own portfolio. So to take that to the next level, right? So I employ probably 50% of my option strategy is, and I want to preface this with, I am not an options expert by any means. So
Neither are we.
but basically half my strategy is mostly into this sole thing of I want to beat the S&P 500, I want to beat my own portfolio, so I don't want to lose my shares. And so I'm really like super conservative in like half of my plays. So whether it's my
cover calls.
Right. So I'm mainly into covered calls. And the thing with that is that I could do, cash secured puts, and I'm using margin too. So I could, employ that to make some cash on the side. But basically, I also think that, really just get super familiar with what I'm doing right now, which I am very, comfortable with that before getting into all the other things, because there's a lot one could do. So why not just, really master one thing? And I could, work on this forever, it seems like. Plus, also, the time that you want to spend with, because I'm already writing, maybe 30 options a week, and that's and as you guys know, it's a lot more than just 30. It's more than 30 because you're selling some and you're buying some back and you're selling some again, right? So it's a lot more than just simply 30. And then half of them, like I said, is more of these super conservative positions, like whether it's Tesla, it's this idea of finding some inefficiencies out there a little bit in the market. Who is wanting to buy this crazy lottery ticket, right? So like, for example, I think on Thursday I sold some Tesla covered calls for $1,125 strikes for like $10. And then the next day it's worth, just $1 or 0.01, whatever. So basically I'm looking for these, inefficiencies a little bit, or what I like to call them, whatever we want to call them, spikes, whatever. And then I see these things happen, whether it's with Tesla, whether it's just Palantir, and other positions. Maybe it's Occidental Petroleum. So there's other positions that I like to do, and also I looked at, especially with my dividend plays, and it depends on just when they are, have that I guess volatility that can give nice premiums. Like Occidental Petroleum is very nice, and I got like $1 for each 100 shares in like dividend recently, and I'm getting $2 or $3 a week selling covered calls on that position, for example. So I have a lot of shares, and I have another part of my strategy is to make sure I just buy in bulks of 100 shares, and I also consider whether this stock is going to be kind of volatile, might be good for options, and maybe could be good for options in the long term as well. So I place that into consideration. I also have other strategies that I employ. Whether if I'm doing a swing trade, I will be aggressively selling options at the strike that I want to actually sell it at, right? And I'll just sell that week by week. So there are shares that I want to get rid of, whether that's and so one position there is well, I don't really want to, I don't need to get rid of it, but I'm just selling aggressively. So for example, I think what's it called, the online furniture company, OSTK.
No.
OSTK.
Overstock.
Overstock. There you go. Sorry. Yeah. So I'm selling. Exactly. So I'm selling aggressively on that. But I'm never getting called. I'm always selling at like 83 or 90 or somewhere around there, and I'm not getting called. And so that's ideal. I don't want to really, if it gets called, it gets called. And then the other strategies I employ are kind of more moderate. Maybe I have a ton of Palantir shares, which I do. I'll sell some that I don't want to get these touched. So I'll be selling like $40 strike covered calls, or whatever the technicals look like too, because I'm really into technical analysis. I'll use, like you mentioned in the last stream, use resistance lines to kind of think of where you might want to place your strikes. So I'll be doing that. In addition, I'll sell some aggressively because I have, again, so many shares. So I don't mind if some get called away. Ideally, obviously none would get called away. So that's in a nutshell, some answers to those questions. And
that's a lot to unpack there. So you did mention you do a dividend portfolio, but you also you mentioned some stocks that are not dividend paying stocks too. So you're kind of doing a hybrid approach. You're not just strictly doing dividends. Is that correct?
Right. I'm also, a big part of my portfolio right now is Mara and Riot, and I'm selling covered calls on those positions as well. This is kind of the super speculative, of course, but basically I've been riding that wave up into the wherever Bitcoin's going to go to become a gold 2.0 or whatever it's going to be. I have no idea where it's going to go, but I'm riding that wave, and I'm not in it for the long run for the most part. I have a small portion, but this portfolio is not going to be. It's going to be just riding wherever that goes. Hopefully, I get off at some point.
So those positions, Riot and the other one you mentioned, Mara, did you buy those strictly to cover calls, or Or you in them because you
I,
actually like the stocks too?
I bought them. So not necessarily like the stocks. It's more at the time, there's not so many stocks to choose from for Bitcoin exposure. And so like, I think, what it was at JPM, they bought a basket of stocks. They bought Mara. No, actually they didn't buy Mara. They bought Riot, MSTR, and, GBTC. I think those, and Square and SI. Those are the basket that JPM bought for their Bitcoin exposure. So that I mean, I did this before it was cool, but basically bought those for that exposure, and in the interim, just selling the covered calls because they still have decent premium, I think, but they had pretty insane premium at several occasions.
Yeah. So you did mention that you're doing cover calls. You're doing like 30 a week, and I tried that. It was just like too much work for my dividend portfolio anyway. So I've kind of transitioned to some ETFs to do it for me. I was doing it on VYM. People probably, if they watched some older streams, they would have known that, and that was easier. And then you mentioned you don't want your position to be called away. So I guess my question is, do you not want it called away because you got a bunch of gains in there and you don't want the capital gain, or you just, I guess my question is what are you doing? Because you're going to be wrong, right? You're going to be wrong occasionally, and it's going to go way above your strike or something like that. Are you going to roll it? You're going to let it get taken away, and you're going to buy it back on Monday, or is your biggest concern taxes, or what?
That's a great question. So taxes is definitely a huge consideration. For example, maybe Tesla, right? But so the thing is this: every time I place a covered call, I in addition to looking at the technicals, I ask myself, okay, is this premium? Do I want $2? I want $10. I want $50. And the second thing I have to ask myself is, am I okay with selling Tesla at $1,125, right? Because of course there's a chance for it to hit that, right? Am I okay with that? And of course there would be massive tax implications, but these are things I'm considering. Am I okay with within 1 week? Because I'm selling all, just like whether it's 1 week out or 2 weeks out. And so I ask myself, am I gonna be fine with that? Because generally speaking, I could get into buying things back at a loss or rolling it over. And I just noticed that when I started out selling options, like my first, weekend or 2 weeks in or month in, that was definitely something that I was doing. I was running into these things, but basically making that decision early on that this is, I'm fine with it hitting this price is something that I think is actually, for the long run for myself, I think it is a better strategy. And then when I do my due diligence in the beforehand, trying to, beat the system, because it's all kind of this zero sum game, right? So it's kind of has this mathematical thing, but beat the system a little bit, use again, technical analysis, use these kind of what you think that is just impossible to get to these prices. So using these things is kind of what's making me, yes, if it ends up being a mistake, it's a calculated one, which I think it's more less of a chance than even the number on the screen of it saying, oh, it's only 95% chance likelihood of hitting whatever. So I think that so none of these positions have been called so far lately that I don't want to be hit, right? So that's just and again, the market's been going down for a lot of these type of stocks recently, but even so, that's kind of my mindset there. So you have to answer yes to both the premium and if you were to get called, because I don't want to get into to have to buy it back for a loss or something like that. And to mitigate that, if I'm up again, like you guys mentioned already, if you're up 50%, 40%, 70%, whatever it is, especially on a weekly time frame, or if you're getting very close to the money already, or if you're getting very close to expiration and you only have a day or two left, is it really going to go any lower? Because there's always going to be a chance of it getting to a certain price. So it's like you might as well book the profits in. Of course, like Gerry mentioned, I don't think he got to what the the caveat is, but there are caveats to that. Of course, I have options expiring every week, worthless. Because there's not necessarily a better play, and you might as well just get that full premium. There's scenarios where you just want to let it expire. So there is a there's a balance there, of course.
Yeah, I mean, Gerry, you can, if you have any questions, obviously you can speak up anytime you want. I don't want to, run over you here. I was just going to talk about the fact that there's a difference there too, because if you're dividend stocks, you probably can't go as high, right? Like Tesla, 1,125, like it's probably not going to get there in a week, right? But those dividend paying stocks, depending on which ones they are, you might not be able to get where you want to be, right? And it might get tested. You can't anticipate upgrades and news, right? So when you're talking about, it's a probability game. It's kind of like a zero sum game, like you just said, right? But you're going to run into a situation where you're going to have to either get it called away or you're going to have to buy it back. It's just a matter of time. It's probably not going to happen on Tesla though, because you get so wide on that thing and still make a good darn amount of money on it. But getting into like a G or something, or Johnson and Johnson, and trying to do a covered call on that, you're not going to make any money, 10% or 5% probably in the money, right? So you're more likely to get tested on it. So
it's amazing to me how far you can go for Tesla. It's amazing to me that somebody's buying, $1,000 puts, or calls. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you guys thinking? But like Marcus Scripper said, take advantage of the system. If they're going to do it, it's nice to take that money. It's strange that money is transferred this way, and it's good for us. You know what I mean?
I'm curious.
That's the free money portion of it, right? But then there's also, like you mentioned with dividend stocks, there's positions I do not sell covered calls on, like with I'm not actually selling my covered calls right now. It could get to a point where, because it's currently in price discovery. Well, it's not really. There's lots of resistance lines, but it's basically just going up, right? So I'm not wanting to sell this as a position I never want to sell. I'm actually buying on margin, not financial advice, not shouldn't, but I bought it in like maybe $60, like 20K of O. But the thing is that there's positions like what is it? It was trading at like between 42 and 45. Leggett and Platt, maybe, I think it was, and LEG, exactly. It was trading between like 40 and 45, and I was just selling calls above that mark. And if it happens, and the premium was okay, and if it happens to go above it, then I'd have my shares called away. And it's also a position that it was a newer position and bought it for this purpose. And it's also some positions I buy for cash, right? Whether it's, I have these, especially these dividend stocks that, of course, I could end up falling in love, and it's kind of a problem. Like, but sometimes, like whether it's J&J, like you mentioned, or LEG, then I wouldn't mind selling at these resistance areas. If they're I mean, J&J's been breaking out in the past. I'm not sure where it is right now. But if they're trading in like a range, I'll be selling right above the range, whatever they will give me, and if it goes above, I will sell it, because basically I'm buying these positions for cash, and it's better than I'm not putting it in the I could put in the SP 500 too, or SPY, but basically I see these breakouts happening, and with SPY it's less, it might be less clear what's going to happen there for the technicals.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't Leg only have monthlies?
That is true. So there are right. So I generally do weeklies, but in that case it was.
Yeah, because I used to do them on Leg too. I'm like, back when I was like very like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get 100 shares of everything I own in my dividend portfolio. I'm gonna start selling covered calls. Like it's gonna be easy, and it's not as easy as it sounds. Like it's a lot of work, and a lot of the things you can't make any money on unless you're like super aggressive on it. Like where you're not, like you're talking about. Oh, I think you'd want to be above 65, right? Because if you look at there's a long-term resistance right at 65, like, so I'd want to be up at like 69 or 70 or something, and it's like good luck trying to make any money up there, right? So yeah, it's so funny that you have an idea in your head and then you try to implement it and it doesn't work how you think it's going to work, right? It's just interesting. It worked with the VYM is another example. It didn't work very well either. Kept every time, every freaking 30 days go by and it was above my strike, and I was like, all right, well, it's just not working well. It's a good thing to have. It's a good problem to have. I think Gerry's mentioned before, because that means that VYM is going up. But
yeah, you got caught. You got caught in the value rotation there with VYM.
I did. Yeah, sure. You're talking about an ETF that only goes up, 7 to 9% a year. It does that. It's doing 5% a month. It's like, what's going on here? But I still have 100 shares of Microsoft. Still have 100 shares of Apple. And some other stocks as well that I could sell covered calls on, but honestly, a lot of the capital's gone into covered call ETFs or some sort of option ETF, and that helps alleviate that whole thing I got to do with the dividend portfolio. And now I just do option to another account, and I focus on that instead of trying to do 3 different accounts. It's too much work, right? It sounds like, so is your dividend portfolio or what you're doing this in? Do you have a separate options account where you're doing other strategies in, or is this all just one brokerage account?
This account, I mean, so I have another brokerage account. So I mean, I have another brokerage account with Tesla shares with lots of dividend stocks. I'm not even touching those at the moment, right? This is just within one account here, but and this is it has a mix. Maybe it keeps on changing. Maybe it's 20 something percent dividends and closer to 70 or 80% growth.
I'm just trying to look through the comments if you want to talk, Gerry, because I want to see if anybody has any questions specifically for Market Scraper, because I don't want to just leave those people high and dry.
Yeah. So on the other side of your other brokerage, you don't do any options covered calls in there. Is that what you're saying?
Right, I'm not, and it's something that the strategy that I'm trying to implement. And again, if you have like a dividend stock, like I said, Occidental is good right now for selling options, but will it be once it just finds its actual price and flatlines? Probably not. So it depends. That's eventually going to dry up, and then you'll find another area that maybe has that same potential of giving you that few dollars a week and very low risk. So it definitely is like an on and off thing, and I'm fine with having my dividend stocks just sit there and do their thing. And I'm not trying to make myself sell covered calls too, because again, there's shares I just don't want to lose. Of course.
Okay, I got you. I understand now, because I was wondering what you meant about beating your own portfolio. So you have a portfolio that you don't touch, and then on the other side, you're trying to beat that portfolio.
Actually, no, well, it's that not exactly. It's just the portfolio I currently have. That this goal is to beat the market, right? And then I want to, instead of just doing nothing, I'm going to be actively selling covered calls, get that free money, and then also have some swing trades and be aggressive with those covered calls, and have this portfolio beat if I were to do nothing. If I were to just sit on my fingers, and because generally speaking, sitting on your fingers could be the best thing to do for your portfolio, but I'm going to be selling covered calls.
Yeah, we can't sit on our hands.
Not when it comes to options.
We're not disciplined enough to do that. That's why I got into options. I can't.
If it wasn't for me doing options in a totally separate account, my dividend portfolio would be gutted right now. Because I've never been a long-term hold person. So I'm having that there, and there's $65,000 of gains in there since I started it last year. And I'll tell you what, it's hard to let that sit there. I just know that it's a big tax bill if I sold it all. So you're talking about beating the market. Do you have almost all the sectors covered, or I mean, how diversified are you in the portfolio?
It's very skewed, and it depends on what's happening in the moment. I mean, my portfolio, was a portfolio that was over 50% in Tesla, and then since then it's now that's so to what it was and to what it's now. I think it's maybe closer to 25%. So it's very big, but the shift that I did was pretty massive to especially in like January and December to I'm pretty massively big on crypto at the moment, and so that shift went to there, and then I am shifting, and then also when the cyclical thing changed into more recovery, that's when I decided to go on the margin for the first time, because I just wanted to buy these next sectors that were going to break out. I saw it just didn't make sense. You see some recovery plays going up, and I was like, why wouldn't O not be the next one to go up? I mean, it would be make sense to me that O would be an amazing candidate, and so stocks like O and other stocks and in plays that I would want to buy anyway. I just poured a lot of money into those, whenever we had the rough patch. I think it was like February or something.
February and beginning
of March.
March.
Yeah, March.
Interesting. Yeah. So I do a monthly video on top 5 stocks, dividend stocks usually. I should probably just, say stocks, and get rid of dividend, so I can do other stocks. But yeah, O is one of those ones that's been lagging, and there's really no reason for it either. So it's a good one. I got puts on it right now, 57.50. So, have you thought about doing? Well, first of all, let me ask you what your average in Tesla is. Did you get into before the split and the SP 500 announcement?
Yeah, I got in before that. I've been Tesla since kind of buying some here and there since 2018, but I think I doubled my cost basis recently when it went below 600. And I mean, doubling my cost basis doesn't mean I have to buy a ton of shares at this current price, but I think this portfolio, it's around maybe 180.
So you're doing the dreaded. So you're doing the dreaded averaging up.
Exactly.
It's a weird thing to do. It's not easy. We're also used to averaging down, right?
Yeah, that's hard to do. Average up.
Average up.
Yeah, my pristine cost basis then gets. But it's where I want to, because I did also, again, my average used to be a lot higher, so I did do some selling, right? So I'm buying them back when it gets lower.
So if you're going to sell anything, do you worry about first in, first out, or last in, first out?
So I have a couple different portfolios, and I do definitely care about that in some of my portfolios. But admittedly, I actually have a big portfolio in Robinhood, and that's where and shamefully where I'm trading a lot of my options.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it got you into options. I'm not a big proponent or promoter of Robinhood, but if it gets you into options, I mean, I just, Gerry and I would probably say you probably do, eke yourself out of dollars here and there, probably every trade. But since you don't see it, you don't really realize it. But it is what it is.
But one thing about that, for those that do have a sizable portfolio in Robinhood, for anyone that does and then wants to move it to another platform, one thing to just ask, when you talk to your brokerage, because like, for example, E-Trade, it also has to do with how much money you have and then how active of a trader you might be. But I'm currently in negotiation of moving some money from if not all money from Robinhood to E-Trade and moving my fee per covered call or for, any contract to be below the current, price that they're advertising.
There's some questions popping in here for you. So let's see here. Here's Sahib. How do you find your picks for such covered call positions? Seemingly your strategy calls in high IV stocks. So he's probably talking about Riot and Marn and all those higher IV type stocks. I mean, I don't know. The first part of the question could be because you're probably just in dividend stocks anyway, right? Good quality dividend stocks. I mean,
right. It's almost like this hand that chooses what stock is going to be, high IV too. Because I bought Palantir also for the selling options, right? This is a stock that I wanted to build out a portfolio, but no, not for dividend, but for selling covered calls. But another, like I've been holding which was CenturyLink. I think it's like.
Lumen.
That one. They changed their name.
Which one?
Basically,
it's Lumen now.
Lumen.
Changed their name to Lumen.
I never sold covered calls on that position, but that position is volatility went up crazy ever since, and it's been lasting for quite some time. And it has these crazy spikes intraday for no good reason. It just happens. If you look at that chart, especially the intraday swings, that I think it went up crazy with the AMC and GameStop initial rallies. But it's been doing, well on the year, I think. But so when I have the opportunity for stocks that I already own, that's one that I've been selling some covered calls on. I haven't sold it last week, but it's, so when it gets hot for selling covered calls, I take advantage of that.
I got a question for you because Gerry and I noticed it. On Friday, I think it was Friday, Tesla's premiums just exploded out of nowhere. Did you get bit by that at all? Because I got 4 puts on or something on Tesla right now, and I just sold it. The stock price did not move. Matter of fact, it went up, which means it went in my favor. But the premium exploded. Like I'm down 150% in that position now. Did you notice that at all?
On Friday, I think I can't remember if it was Thursday or Friday when I sold my covered calls. And I noticed that one of these days there was a huge, like I sold one, again, I'm selling these calls way out, right? These were $1,125 strikes, right? And these are for the next week coming on Friday. So I started selling these, and I sold one maybe I think at 6 or something, right? And then or 0.06, and then whether it was the next day or at some point, that more than doubled that premium, right? So then I sold another one.
And the stock didn't move very much.
Right, the stock didn't move so much, but then I sold another one. So I'm just selling them, but it doesn't matter how high it goes. I know that it's the premium for this specific contract is going to crash down, and then if Tesla gets to this price, I will happily, walk away, put cash on a house, and just
That was definitely an anomaly, I think, on Friday, because I noticed I watched it, because usually Friday I'm usually light in my put positions, or I have room to put stuff on for the weekend. And I remember looking at Tesla. I always look at Tesla just because it's kind of my last resort. I don't always play Tesla, but if I haven't put nothing else on, I'm going to go put in a Tesla, because as far as the put side concerned, you can get down into the 400s and make, $100 in a week. It's pretty much free money. I don't see Tesla going down, $400. I mean, whatever it is now, I don't see it going down $500 a week, right?
But they do have earnings, though.
In the morning, on Friday morning, Tesla's, I always look at the 420 strike on Tesla, just because it's a meme kind of a strike right there. And it was like 99 cents. It was under $1. And then afternoon came after I had sold it for like $1.30. It popped up over $2. And so the premium doubled on Friday on Tesla.
And this expires next Friday or this Friday coming up?
I don't remember if it was this Friday coming up or the next.
The 30th, because there's an earnings in there. I got two that go through earnings, so
I got that one.
Okay, I mean that's probably why, right? But yeah, I took advantage of it too. It exploded up, and then I sold another one. Now I got to have 4 of those damn things on. We got another question here for Market Scraper. What has Market Scraper's ROI been over the last few months? Have you successfully beaten the market every month? I'm comfortable. Can you discuss your portfolio size and long-term returns? Technically, he should be outperforming the market, because if the market's going up, all of his positions are going up, plus he's making money from the covered calls. So he should be pretty much always outperforming the market, assuming he has, a good collection of stocks that covers all the sectors. But I'll let him answer that. So
definitely contingent on Bitcoin, but yeah, for the past several months, definitely been outperforming the market. I mean, past year, definitely been, especially with Tesla. So I have been outperforming the market, but that's, again, this is just a short term. I don't really think about so much the, just a month to month or the past year. And the past year, I think, the gains of the past year was probably around 300%. Again, a lot. Again, I told you before that my portfolio was like 50% Tesla at some point. So, but the thing is that I still don't know if I'm going to be able to beat the market over 10 years. And I'm talking about, like, I guess on average, and I don't want to like even have certain years included, especially the upside, because it's kind of bad data if you just have huge outliers as well. So it's something that I want to be humble and keep on checking myself, because it takes a lot of time to manage one's portfolio, especially if you're doing covered calls. And I want to make sure that I'm using my time effectively and efficiently. And if there's a better option, might as well do that better option.
If comfortable, can you discuss your portfolio size matters, and your long-term returns?
I'd say it's a definitely a sizable portfolio. If you've been catching in terms of the whether I use plural or not for certain options I'm selling, and I'm not selling I'm selling options on the actual collateral that I have, and so I'll leave it at that.
And you're between 20 and 40, correct? Years old.
This is correct. I have two kids, so.
Oh wow! I would have never known.
that have nap times.
I think I'm between 20 and 40 as well.
I don't know, 20 and 50 maybe, Gerry. Let's see here. Here's another question for Market Scraper. Let's see. How far out in time do you go for your cover calls? I think you said pretty much a week, probably 7 to 10 days, but I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, week, 2 weeks, but at the same time, there are positions I own that do monthly, and so then
Right. O is a
that's what
good
I do. I'll
example.
do.
Yeah, O, Leggett and Plaid, they're monthlies. Let's see
Well, you
here.
can make it a weekly. You just wait till the third week.
Yeah, what do you do for those 3 weeks? Not make any money?
Yes.
What
But
have
going back to Tesla though, in terms of the premium on Thursday and Friday. So actually, my strategy with Tesla in the past, when it was over 800, was literally to wait for Thursday and Friday. If there's a big pop, I would sell and make a buck or $100 or whatever. On selling a call, whether it was Friday morning or Thursday at some point, and then buying it back or letting it expire on the next day. So that is a trend that it did when it was at 800. It would jump $50 or jump $20 in the day on Thursday or Friday, and so that was something that maybe that'd be cool if the trend starts to happen again for premium on Thursday and Friday.
There's a couple more questions here that have popped in, but before I get to those questions, have you thought about just doing puts? I'm just curious because the reason I say that is because technically you're going against the market, right? By doing cover calls, technically you're going against the market. So, and the market's biased towards the upside, right? If it's going up 66% of the time, it's going down 33% of the time. We're all in the market because we're trying to make money, which the market goes up, goes higher. So you're technically going against the market by doing a covered call, which is kind of funny, right? Like I understand the strategy, but why not just do freaking some puts?
The reason why I haven't been doing puts, and I think it's a good strategy. The reason why I've been just not doing it was for, I'd use margin to do that, which I'm using already, and I'm trying to cap myself with margin, and I think I would, because margin is something that I'm very new to, and it's so far so good, but this is something that it's so easy to just, especially with a certain portfolio size, you just know you could get so much money, right? And so I have like certain limits that I want to have, and I keep trying to scale out my margin, and I just feel like I would ramp up it, and I have to make sure I'm
don't trust
comfortable.
yourself, is what you're saying?
With margin, absolutely do not trust myself with margin yet.
Fair
so
enough.
I have to just trust myself more, and again, just want to build up, my learnings before I put in another wrench into the
I think
system.
it's smart. No, I think I've always told people, hey, you want to get started with selling premium, do covered calls, start there, get the mechanics down, learn everything. There's like zero risk. We talked about it in streams ago, what the risks are, pros and cons, and all that. But the margin thing is a whole nother ball game. I guess you could do cash secured puts, but if you have a margin account, then it is tempted, right? Like Gerry and I are, of course, I'm on like 25% used right now or something like that, but what has been your biggest wins and losses? What have been your biggest teachings, lessons?
Biggest wins, Tesla. More recently, a huge shift to Bitcoin too, and so that was a huge win. And another win was when Salesforce had when they acquired Slack. I put a lot in Dropbox for that sympathy play, and that's been doing very well too. Biggest lessons, I mean, early on, I bought Square for like $12 and sold probably for like $14. And this is
why that's not a lesson in my opinion. You made profit. You
okay,
made
a lesson
to sell out. I always tell people, don't regret selling out of something. It does you no good. What do you get from doing that, right? Like nothing. You made money on it. You know what I mean?
But the thing there is that's what made me realize I want to hold long term, and selling covered calls. Selling covered calls helps me have a reason to hold and be long equities. So the thing with Tesla, I'm tempted to sell Tesla a lot. I'm tempted to sell, and with other stocks, I'm tempted to sell once they run up a lot. But having and just holding, I don't have to deal with the taxes for this. And then in addition, I can continuously make money. As long as you hold assets, you can continuously make money. And that's this free money thing of being able to sell covered calls and just being able to have this appreciating asset, whether hopefully the price stays the same or higher, but then just being able to keep making money.
To not sell out, basically.
That's it, right.
Okay. Would you, if Tesla dropped down to 400, would you buy more?
I would buy more.
So let's sell some puts.
But so here's the thing with selling puts is that okay? So yeah, I could do that. Would I want to buy 100 more shares? I'm not sure if I want to buy 100 more shares.
Yeah, I was just
but
gonna say that is kind of
but
pricey.
but the thing is that I also like with technical analysis, I like to be able to time and buy right away, because even when selling, and if you want to sell at a certain price and you want to sell at a disciplined price, it's not always the best thing to just sell, whatever the OSTK, whatever, overstock at a certain price. Like, because I had a covered call right at, I think it was like 77 or something, or 78, and it went there and then it dropped away. So I didn't get called, and so that's fine. But if I wanted to sell there, that could have been, it made it hard to sell there if I wanted to, for example. So it's if to make that choice, if you want to be a swing trader and just purely do technicals, and for the downside, I want to be buying, on the opportunity, especially when we have these crazy days, intradays that we've been having in March, February, these days that we see these crazy sell-offs in stocks, and you have to just buy it and not wait for your 100 shares to, get hit.
I was trying to put your channel in the chat so people can go check you out. I totally get where you're coming from there. Selling those puts, like people have mentioned it over the years to me. It's like, why don't you just sell a put if you want to get in the position? It's like, so I want to be in it right now. Like, it's just, that's just the attitude I have. I want to be in something right now. I don't want to wait, a week or 2 weeks for it to get assigned. And so, yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from there. If it drops down too, it's like, those premiums will go up too, right? Big time. And you can just sell another one if you wanted to, but I get it. I actually like your strategy with the cover calls. It kind of keeps you disciplined not to get out of them. But I think you're going to get ran over at least in one position. I would love to hear what you do with it. Probably not. It's not going to be Tesla though, I don't think. But
I don't think
But
so.
at the same time, I completely get this idea of selling, puts, because let's say I lose my job, for example. Would I start selling puts and doing more, covered calls and things like that, and a different strategy a little bit? Maybe I would, because it is not too difficult to make a lot of money every week consistently, and that would be a strategy. It has to do with what one is at too, and what their goals are as well. Like I said, my goal is just simply to outperform my current situation. It's not necessarily to take over my current income, which definitely could be a possibility in the future.
yeah, let's get to that. Because MDB here mentions how much time you spend selling options every day. Do you have a 9 to 5? I mean, how do you trade at work? Because you know what I mean?
So yeah, I do have a 9 to 5, and I try to, generally speaking, put my positions on Monday, and maybe some on Friday as well. And I won't necessarily always actively be buying them back, but if the opportunity comes and it makes sense, I will. But I'm not necessarily tracking my premium too often, because it's more of this passive thing, and I'm also not trying to optimize my gains, because I'm selling it for half of them way out of the money, and the rest
supplemental income.
right.
Yeah, it's a good strategy. It just didn't work as well as I wanted it to. It was a lot of work to manage. Number one. Number two was, it's just a lot of work. I don't know how else to put it. Plus, every position you got to have at least 100 shares, and yeah. No more questions here specifically for you, but
How much time do you spend in the market every day, Dave?
all day, every day. Yeah, I don't do much research though. I don't do any research really. Every time before I put a position on, it takes me like a minute or two, look at a chart, figure out where I want to be, what's the premium there, is there earnings, put it on, right? Like I don't, all weekend I'm not looking, okay, what's the next, I'm not doing that. And I don't think Market Scraper really needs to do that either. He's selling cover calls when positions he already has. Maybe he finds a position that's like, oh man, this is a good deal. I'm gonna pick up 100 shares. I'm gonna sell cover calls. But Overstock, I mean, that's like one of those. That's like a wish stock. I mean,
No,
who
not
uses Overstock?
Overstock's a legit company. It's
I
not.
know. I've
not
never
like
bought anything from there.
Wish is totally different.
Or Wayfair. Okay, I guess we can consider it like a Wayfair, right?
More like that. I'm selling puts. I have puts on Overstock. I've been doing that for the past month or so. It's a good stock. It's got nice support down in the 60s. It's just been it's pretty. The IV is pretty high on it. To be honest with you, that thing swings, and so if you can get it in the right time, you can make some money there.
So here's an interesting question for both of you all. Anyone pricing in a nice 10 to 20% correction soon, or am I smoking some crack off of somebody's ass crack?
You're smoking crack, Blake. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Well, we got a tiebreaker here, maybe. So what do you think, Marcus Scraper?
I'm thinking that I'm not surprised. Wouldn't be surprised. I've been saying in terms of getting into the technicals of things. I've been saying that I've been expecting price to hit like 420, basically for the SPY, and then after that, or even along the way, I wasn't sure which one it's going to be, but basically going back to a major line of like, if you look at anyone who's charting SPY technicals, there's a huge breakout that SPY did to the upside that hasn't done for quite some time, and basically pulling back and hitting that at some point, this breakout point to confirm that, are we going to actually stay above this breakout point, or are we going to break back below it? So I'm definitely expecting a pullback to then, but when is that going to happen? I'm not sure, and is there going to be something that actually causes that to happen? But in general, I'm super bullish because just everything, you're seeing a ton of sectors go up, so that is making me more bullish in general than bearish until we see something change.
Well, what was interesting too is the SPY was disconnected from what the Qs were doing, right? So the Qs finally caught back up now, and they're pretty much at all-time highs, maybe slightly above, but the SPY is way above where the 52-week high was. So there's a disconnect there, which is kind of interesting. So that's a good question, Blake. Number one, nobody can predict that. So I think just having some dry powder on the side, depending on, how comfortable you are. I mean, I got dry powder on the side waiting, but at the same time, like it could be 5 years. You never freaking know. 10% is not like 10% is nothing, right?
Yeah,
like we just had that in the Qs.
20%. Interesting point to look at, for folks who like to, look at the history and the psychology of stocks, of when we broke out of certain areas. The breakout of 400, 4,000 was interestingly similar to the breakout at 100 for SPY. So it's an interesting thing to look at in terms of more similar to that than to 200 or 300.
What I was saying is, and I'm looking here at the SPY, I thought so we double topped, right? And we went above, and so, right, well, that normally that either breaks up or breaks down, right? Like, okay, what's going to happen is we're above now, and that'll probably come back down and test the previous high that I had. But, as far as a 10 or 20% correction, that might actually, it could be several years. It could be next month. It could be next week. A 10% is nothing. Matter of fact, a 10 and 20% is actually good for the market. It brings in new capital to go higher. So it's not it's not a scary thing, in my opinion. Use this opportunity to buy. It's kind of scary, matter of fact, putting a bunch of shit on when we're at 52-week highs, right? So, I don't think you're smoking crack, but you are smoking crack, right? Because there's no answer to that.
I don't know what the catalyst would be for that at this point.
No, you got a bunch of helicopter money that's just being dropped in the market, and I don't think the infrastructure bill is passed or anything yet, but that's like, another $3 trillion and a bunch of freaking non-infrastructure bullshit too. But so most of it's not going in infrastructure, but still, that's money that should be flowed in the market. So, you take those 10 or 20% as an opportunity to buy. I'm not going to be worried about it though. So that's a good one. I don't see any more. Well, let me get to the bottom here. Shit.
Yeah, there's some down there.
Yeah, but I must say that was super interesting, that divergence that was picked up by the VIX being the wrong way. You know, the
It's
VIX
happened a
being
couple
down when the
times in the
market's
last few
being down.
weeks.
Oh, it
Yeah.
has. Okay, interesting.
Well, on the upside, if the market's going up and it's up big, and the VIX is going down, that's a problem. That's a big red flag. It happened just a few weeks ago where the market was up like 250 or something like that, and the VIX was up like 3% or something like that. That's a freaking red flag. Doesn't happen very often. Excuse me, it was down. It was down. Was it up? No, it's the opposite. What the hell? Damn, Jerry, keep me straight. Yeah, if the market's up, the VIX should be down. But in this case here, the VIX was up too. Let's see, David Hibson. Good evening, just joining. Do you buy any options, any specific scenario? That's a good question. We didn't ask you about that. Do you buy premium at all? Buy leaps?
I do buy leaps. Yep.
Okay. Do you do 2 years or you just do one?
Just 1 year, and I'll be, generally speaking, you know, I'll sell it if I have like a rule where if I'm up 100% or 150%, I'll generally sell. I won't wait for, you know, crazy massive gains or anything like that.
No, yeah, I wouldn't either. So are you buying at the money or going above? I mean, what are you doing?
I'll be buying a little bit above the money to reduce the premium cost.
Yeah, those things aren't cheap. Let's see here, Blake. Yeah, it seems like yesterday we hit 4,000 S&P 500. Pretty intense run up. Bunch of money is being pumped in the market. That's what happens. There's no other place to be either, right? Like bonds don't pay shit. Money markets don't pay shit. Gold and freaking silver don't pay shit. Where else are you going to put your money? It's going to be in equities.
One thing, Dave, one thing that I did think about lately, and like kind of pushed me away from buying leaps, honestly, has been my newfound love-hate relationship with margin, actually. Because it's like, okay, I could buy a leap, or I could just margin 100 more shares.
How about PMCCs?
And then sell toward calls.
If you're buying the leap, you already have half of a PMCC on. Have you thought about doing PMCCs?
Selling calls against your leaps.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Poor man's covered.
Poor man covered calls.
Yeah.
I haven't tried that.
Yeah. I think it depends. Like maybe you can tell us what stocks you actually buy leaps on.
The leaps that I've been buying recently was I'm not in them right now, but Salesforce, Dropbox, those were leaps that I had. Don't have them right now. The leaps I do have right now is Palantir stock.
Interesting. Okay. So Salesforce is an interesting one.
Yeah, I was looking at that a few weeks ago. It was a little too rich for my blood, but yeah. I think Stock Ninja got into one of those when I was looking at it.
Ninja's funny. He hates Salesforce as like a customer, but the stock he loves, so it cracks me up. I like ServiceNow personally. I've never really, really been a big fan of Salesforce, like from a customer perspective, but I don't hate them either. But ServiceNow, I just completely, our customer I support uses ServiceNow, and it's like freaking pretty damn amazing. Sahib here, folks. What percent age of cash do you have sitting in your accounts currently? Percent age? What's percent age? Oh, percentage. What percentage of cash? Well, I got a lot of cash in my account right now because I'm not really using hardly any freaking margin.
You don't do good on personalized license plates, huh, Dave?
No, I don't. I'm sure when those prison freaking inmates were making the license plates, they're like, oh, this is a really good one, but I'm not gonna get it. Percentage of cash, like I'm only 25% buying power used right now, very little, and I don't know why. It's just I don't know. It's hard to find shit to put on. So what about you, Gerry and Market Scraper?
Pretty much, not counting what I'm selling puts on, right? If I don't count that, I'm probably 80% in cash. So It's actually been really nice to be in that much of a cash position, because as some of you guys know, I don't really have a steady income anymore. So to be in that position where, okay, that is sitting there and it's secure, right? And I'm able to make money off it as well. It made life a lot more. It took weight off my shoulders, because before, when I was fully invested and I didn't have regular income coming in, it was scary. Like, okay, what am I going to do here if something happens, right? So being that allocated to cash for me personally has been great, to be honest with you.
So for market scraper, you're probably not sitting on a lot of cash, right? Is my guess. You're pretty much 100% invested.
Yeah, mostly invested. We have like emergency fund, things like that. So definitely, if we have enough cash
That don't count.
for that. But besides that, no. In terms of my portfolio, I'm more at the moment, now that we're at pretty highs in the market, I'm paying off some margin, but I have margin.
Is your wife supportive of what you're doing? I mean, not that you're doing anything illegal or anything. I'm just saying, I cover calls. Like, it's hard to explain stuff like this. You know what I mean? And some just don't want to be interested. They're like, it's risky. It's like, I've heard a lot of stories. I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, no, it was definitely hard to get my initial capital in my account and continue to fund my account. But after I show her some gains, she is okay, and I can negotiate getting some money, even though I'm the single income producer, but I still have to. She has the control of the money, though.
Yeah, that was just a joke on Stock Ninja. He buys his wife a purse. Hey, I'm making money. Do you think the potential nationwide unrest this week could impact the market? No, I don't think so. Hasn't impacted the market all last summer. Hasn't impacted the market the last few weeks. It's not going to impact the market. That's my opinion. What about your guys' opinion?
Yeah, I don't see it doing anything unless it's maybe if it's a nationwide thing, but he says nationwide, but it's just little spots of things here and there. Not really going to move anything, I don't think.
Well, nationwide is on your side. So
Newsy.
What do you think, Marcus Graber?
No, yeah, it's not going to impact if there's any bearing to history what we've seen the past year.
We almost need something to scare the market. Get that damn VIX higher is what we need. You know what I mean? If someone says they're going to short Coinbase at 400 like 5 shares, what does that lingo mean? Does anyone have any interest in Coinbase? What that means is you're actually borrowing shares against whoever's offering the shares to broker, and then you're going negative technically. You're borrowing shares at whatever price, and then you're buying it back cheaper. That's shorting a stock. I'm assuming you're not talking about options here, because that doesn't sound like you're talking about options. But that's how you short a stock. I've only done it a couple times in my life, and every time I've done it, I've gotten burned. So I don't really do it very often. If I'm going to short a stock, it's going to be through options. Either one of you guys ever short a stock?
I was tempted to short a stock, and I put the order in. It was what was this? It was the Signal, when Elon Musk tweeted that people should use Signal app instead of Facebook Messenger or something like that.
He's right.
There's a stock name and I do SIGL or something like that, went up hundreds of percent, maybe thousands, maybe 1,000%, and then I was thinking to short that.
Wait,
but I didn't.
You're saying Signal is
an unrelated stock.
What's that?
It's an unrelated stock. Signal
okay.
doesn't have it. Signal's not public. An unrelated stock with the name Signal went up hundreds, if not 1,000%. And okay. I was trying to play, because I knew this in the past when there was a Zoom IPO stock. I think it was ZOOM. I think they might have changed it, but that stock went up 1,000% or something like that. And so I wanted to short this stock. And so I'm not sure what actually ended up happening, but I'm sure it crashed down. It was like maybe 50 cents went to like $20 maybe, something like just obscene, and then it went back down probably to, I assume, $1 or two. I'm assuming.
Yeah. That's funny when that happens, when people just assume on the ticker symbol.
Yeah, because I mean, if anybody knew Signal, it's not. It's like a private. I mean, it's open source kind of, right? Like it's not like a Facebook, Instagram / WhatsApp or anything like that, where it's closed source. It's owned by a company for profit. It's like it's kind of decentralized type of, that's, if you don't want government spying on you, use Signal, right? Anyways, that's the reason I went to it.
And it was either the CEO of Signal or the CEO of that company, probably the CEO of Signal, literally tweeted that we're not related to this company. And the stock still, and the stock still went up for a couple of days. It's still just.
Oh wow, people just didn't get the news.
I don't think people are that great, that stupid though. I don't think so. I think what it is probably is just algorithms and that they're seeing all this movement on social media. I just don't believe that people are that dumb. I don't think it's that. That's my.
I do believe that there's people that are that dumb, but
well, yeah, there's some, but not to move a stock that much is my thoughts.
It depends on how big the float was on that stock too, though, right? If there was any short, like a big short float on it too. But did you take advantage? I don't know if that's the right word.
So I didn't. I put the order in.
Did you play GME, Nokia, and AMC or any of that stuff at all?
Yes, for AMC. I think I was selling. I bought AMC on the dip at, after it blew up, it came back down to like $5 or $6. I bought that. But then I was selling covered calls at like $9, and it went to like 11. So I got called away. But it wasn't something that, it was just fine.
Well, there's an success story. Most everybody we've talked about of those got burned somehow. So, see, please explain to me in very basic terms. This one's definitely not for me. Then,
that's the same question.
Huh?
That's the same question.
Is it?
Basically, yes.
Someone says that he's going to short Coinbase. Okay. Did he already ask that question?
That's what we just talked about.
Market Scraper, are you comfortable shorting your Tesla position?
Sharing.
Oh shit, sorry.
Well, I sell covered calls, and I have Tesla and other portfolio as well.
So we know he has at least 100 shares. He's covered calls, right? He could have more. He could be doing like 2 contracts or something, but at least has 100 shares. So, yeah.
I think that's it. So I got a question. How'd you get your name? How'd you come up with your name?
I think I was hanging out with a friend, and we were just talking about building websites, and he was saying that he was scraping websites to do something, and then that's it.
Market Scraper. That is. It sounds like blood phantom. No comment. Let's see here. I thought maybe you were just scraping, because I mean Dan's talked about it too, making some sort of social media site or whatever that just scrapes a bunch of tweets and shit, and kind of aggregates them all together and then makes like some sort of informed decision, right? Kind of what's trending. I mean, there's already trending stuff like that. It's just, I guess making one for the market or whatever. So.
Right, exactly. My friend was scraping, I don't know if it was sports data off of a website to make a sports betting app, for example. And then I just had that in my mind. And I was also in the process of making a channel because I was on a paternity leave with my daughter during that time. Wait,
men get that now?
Yeah, they get like 3 months.
I know. I was kind of just saying it as a joke, but yeah, I know. That's I
only got like 3 or 4 weeks.
I'm glad that they did that, because you can hear about, equal rights all the time from the women's side. Well, guess what? I want to be home too, That's good. That's because it's always been a double standard for years with a bunch of stuff. That's pretty good. I like that. Did I miss any questions here for Market Scraper?
Not for Market Scraper specifically, no, not
Well,
that
I
I've
mean, we
seen.
can hit other questions too. If Market Scraper, if you let us know if you need to go. I mean, that's fine too, because I know you got kids. I don't even know what time zone you're in or anything either. So
I'm gonna jump, but really enjoyed it with you guys, and I hope I can join again at some point.
yeah, here's one last one if you want to. Well, this one's for Gerry, so we'll let you go, and then we'll just answer that question. So, hey, thanks a lot for coming on. Like I said, anybody that comes on is always welcome to come back on. Just reach out, and what other media you want, Twitter or Instagram, or even I think we're on Discord. But so let me put your channel in there one more time. You can say goodbye, and we appreciate it and sharing your story. We like hearing other people's stories, how they got started and all that. So there is his channel down in the chat, folks. Go ahead and give him some love over his channel and watch his story and develop and all that. So
Yeah, thanks,
Gerry,
Dave.
you.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'll catch you guys later.
All right, take care. Let me get back to the top here. Holy cow.
You pretty much go all the way down there, Dave, I think.
Did we do this one?
Yeah, that's way at the top.
Yeah. We haven't seen this one. Let's see. It doesn't do Thursday, Friday lunches with me anymore. Oh. Let's see. Thumper. Cody, I kind of look like Market Scraper. I'm not going to lie. Maybe you actually have two different logins, Cody. Market Scraper looks different than his logo pic. Cute kid. You know how All Good says every kid's cute except for her own kids? It's kind of funny. She never says that about her own kids, but she'll say it about everybody else. Except me.
Funny.
She doesn't like freaking dark eyes. But let's see here. Hey, Rebecca, thanks for joining. I learned 98% about stocks from this group. Gotta pay it back. So,
Wow.
hey, that's a great compliment for Gerry and everybody in the chat except me. No, I'm just kidding. That is a great, that's why we're all here. We're all kind of like, this is a very small niche community. I'm not hanging out with any of these Mark, Graham Steffens and Meet Kevins and all that stuff. I'm not saying you can't learn anything there. It's just, you don't get the personal community feeling with those people.
Very true.
You're not gonna, you can't ask questions one-on-one with them or anything. So the small niche community, the finance community, we're all kind of tight, we all help each other out. And
I think we seem more like humans too. I could be wrong.
Well, I mean, I haven't watched a big YouTuber in a long time in the finance side, so I don't really know what they push. But, unfortunately, some of those people, I'm not going to name names because I really honestly probably couldn't. I've heard things through the grapevine, whatever, but Jeremy maybe comes up in my mind just because I've heard other people say it. But they push a lot of junk too, I think. And that's kind of like a disservice to the investing community, in my opinion, because it's like, it makes the rounds. Like, honestly, it's like, okay, well, how did you hear about SPHD? Oh, because of this, it's like, and it gets pushed. And everybody else starts making videos on it. So then you go. It's like everybody's in my opinion, a SPHD, which was not low volatility and kind of a shitty freaking ETF, but that's neither here or there. Yeah, good. I know Matt Mullah's busy guy. Good reasons. Nah, I don't know about that. He's not busy. He's bored as AF yesterday. Hope you're all doing well. Let's see. Victor, what's up, fellas? Hey, happy Sunday to you. Oh, shit, my camera freaking moved. Hang on. Oh, crap.
You broke it.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I guess I must have rocked the damn desk. Not rocking the bed here. Let's see here. Cool side. Gerry misspelled his name before. Sorry. For anybody who doesn't know, GW stands for Gerry. Okay, I'm not gonna mention his last name. His last name is known, but Gerry, not Gary. Okay, because people do call him Gary, but his name is
And
Gerry.
I answer to it because I don't want to correct anybody because I've done that like thousands of times in my life. So I'm just like, you know what? I'll answer to it, but it is Gerry.
And I get where you're coming from, because Gerry is usually a G. It's usually a G. It's usually a J, Gerry, right? Like Jerry Seinfeld. So I can see the misunderstanding there. But it's kind of funny because we're talking, Jerry in the chat and stuff, and people still call him Gary. But who do you think we're calling Jerry then? That's funny. Let's see here. Not bad. Trying to get the kids to go to bed. Hey, Dan just put a video out today on utilities, I think. Utility sector. Go ahead and check that out. He had some. I haven't watched the video yet personally, so I can't really comment on it. Let's see here. We didn't answer this one. If you wanted to buy long-term 20-year 100K QQQQ position with international brokers, how would you do it? Sell puts and take the risk that it might keep going up, or just buy it at market value? So 20 years, just buy the damn thing. You're going to make like what? How much money are you going to make? Like selling 100K worth. It's not going to be that much money. Just buy the damn thing. 20 freaking years. This is not advice, by the way. So
yeah, if I wasn't selling puts, I'd buy it, and if I wanted a long-term position that long, but I don't anticipate owning hardly anything that long. So
the issue that I have with this, is having 100K worth of QQQs and not doing any covered calls against it. That would be very tough to do.
I couldn't do that. Yeah.
I don't think I could have those shares just sitting there and not have covered calls going on it. So that's just
that's only a few hundred shares.
Still,
I'd still sell. Oh yeah, I'd still sell some.
So hey, Benny, we got Benny in the house. Haven't seen it around. I think you bought a house, so congrats on buying your house. I know you've been a little MIA from YouTube, and it's probably because you're buying your house, moving, and all that stuff. But I know, good to have you here. Good to see you around, and hopefully you can get back making some videos again. Let's see. We already did that one. Shit. Let's see, Blake.
I'm trying to figure out where you're at here.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
right,
we got
right under there. No.
Futu. What the hell's Futu? I think of Fukushima when I see that. Fukushima. Yeah, don't go
Futu.
swimming over there either. Don't go swimming over there. They're all releasing all that freaking contaminated water in the ocean. Don't drink the water and don't swim.
It's just a little contamination.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's better than burying it in freaking Las Vegas. I don't know what's better. The better thing is just don't have a freaking meltdown to begin with. But is that a ticker? Just look it up.
I believe so.
Let me look
I
it up.
believe it is.
Let's see here, George. What are you talking about here? Futu Holdings, Hong Kong.
Okay, yeah, no thanks.
What do they do? It's not like it's 21 market cap, 21 billion. It's not bad. Online brokerage and wealth management platform in Hong Kong. Yeah, not touching it. Not freaking touching it. Not when it came from $40 and $30 like literally just 4 months ago. And it's up. Yeah, it's another one of those mining stocks, Gerry. Well, that's gone up 10,000%.
Yeah, that's a little overbought.
It's up
just a
234% this year. Last year, previous year, 1,300%. It's got a big short float on it. So maybe that's what's causing it to go up. I don't know. to me, it's not something I would touch. I'm kind of curious to know what the options look like on it, though. Do you think the potential? Oh, I already looked at that one. It says they're going short. Yeah, I already did that one. Shit, I need to get down to the bottom here. What's this? FML. What the hell's that?
That's the family medical leave we were talking about.
Yeah, I need to have some kids so I can take off a few months from work.
There's one above that for you.
Oh, shit. Thanks, Sahib. Would you warn against QLD? Jerry's a fan. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily call Jerry a fan just because he did a video on it. Doesn't make him a fan. I'll let Jerry speak for it, but Jerry's a fan. I'm thinking to scale some and I don't like QLD. I'm open about it. I've been open about it. I don't like QLD. I don't like that they pay out more than they make. That's part of the reason I don't like it, but I don't like the mysterious freaking prospects either. I don't like that. I don't like, just because it pays a higher yield doesn't mean it's better. I mean, I'm in Jeppy, I'm in Devo, I'm in Nusi, and I'm in VYM. QLD is not one I've really even considered getting into.
I'll
let Jerry sum this up for you.
I've pretty much owned them all. I'm not a fan of owning everything. I think you need to figure out what fits you, your portfolio, your requirements, what you're comfortable with, and settle in on one or maybe two. I know Dave's got a couple, but I settled on one, and that was Nusi. That was my favorite of the group, and I just wanted to focus on one. So my main holdings, actually, I have three main holdings, and that's QQQ, DGRO, and Nusi. That's it. That's all I'm really messing with. The rest of it, I can, sell options against, and or sell cash secured puts and make money on it. I just filter excess money into those ETFs or YouTube money into those ETFs. So I'm not a fan of overbuying ETFs.
Well, what do you mean
I think
by that?
people.
Do you mean not
what I mean by overbuying ETFs?
Or you mean not put all into QLD?
Yeah, what I mean is I don't like when I shouldn't say I don't like it. I think ETFs, the main purpose of an ETF is to gain diversification. So there are certain strategies you can diversify with ETFs. You can get QILD, but you'll have a SCHD holding as well. And that's like a good mix, right? But if you were to have a SCHD, VYM, DGRO, VOO, XPHD, QILD, Nusi, Jeppy, and have all of that, I think it's kind of pointless, because you're with an ETF, you gain diversification immediately. You don't have to diversify everywhere within ETFs, or own multiple ETFs that follow the same sort of strategy. That's where I'm coming from.
I follow you there. I mean, it's not a black and white question, because me being VYM and DGRO, like, there's stocks that are not in VYM that I could get out of DGRO or SCHD, for example. And we're not talking about like shit stocks. We're talking about Microsoft, Apple, Starbucks, Home Depot, like major stocks, right? And those aren't in VYM. So that's, right. You could probably cover them in two. But the reason why I'm in the ones I'm in is because I'm trying to cover different indexes, trying to cover different strategies. I don't know, obviously it's a fluid situation for me. Like, I need income, and my portfolio is not quite there yet to provide the income that I need. So I need to get out of some of the lower, yielding stuff for a little bit higher yield. The monthly is not really, it's nice. Don't get me wrong. It's great, but it wasn't the thing I was after. It just so happens a lot of these do pay monthly. But what's that?
The example I'm going for here probably would be, for instance, okay, you have QYLD, you have XYLD, and you have RYLD. One follows one, it doesn't follow. Let me take that out of that equation. One uses the NASDAQ as a benchmark, not a benchmark, as the reference index. One uses the S&P as a reference index, and one uses the Russell 2000 as a reference index. The caveat, they all have the exact same strategy. So is it really advantageous to own all three when they're all doing the exact same thing? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
And I only say that because the S&P 500 is going to cover a lot of both of those other ones, right? So, but the QQQs won't cover everything in this one. So yes and no. But I guess in general, just do the S&P 500 one, right? Because that'll cover some of the Russell, cover some in QQQs or, the NASDAQ. But yeah, if you're just doing straight NASDAQ, it's going to cover some of the S&P 500. I mean, it's just, I don't know. That's just not an easy one either. I would just say go the S&P 500 one. For me, it's like, VYM didn't work out like I wanted it to. I'm up big in it still, but at the same time, my cover calls just didn't work. So if I can get it in Devo, put some of that money in Devo, get a higher yield out of it, plus it's doing the cover calls for me, there you go. That's a strategy I'm willing to do, or put it in there. If you haven't seen Gerry's video on it, watch it, by the way, on Devo. Let's see here, MDB. I keep hearing about people concerned about taxes due at the end of the year. What are you guys trying to avoid? How do you avoid? Yeah, you don't. I tell you how you avoid tax bill. You freaking die. That's how you avoid it. Being serious here, we're trying to avoid a big freaking tax bill at the end of the year. This year for me, it was $23,000 I had to come up with. And honestly, I didn't even have that much, capital gains and stuff last year. There's a lot of interest income from notes and stuff, but still, this is already money that I've paid for my job. Okay. All the money from working 9 to 5 that comes out, through the withholding and all that was already taken out. That's separate. Like I was saying earlier, the job doesn't know about all the other income, all the investment income. Okay. So options, dividends, and my interest income from the notes, all that income needs to be taxed too. But your job doesn't know about it, even though I claimed zero. So all that income needs to be taxed. And because I'm in a higher income bracket, got a lot of investment income, I get taxed pretty damn high, a substantial amount. So 23 grand had to come up with. There is no way to avoid it. Not when you have a 9 to 5. Quit your 9 to 5. Get your money, get your seed money, quit your 9 to 5, and then you can significantly lower your tax bill to zero if you did it right. If you wanted to literally all have dividend income, and you got married and all that, you can have up to almost $100,000, if not $100,000 of tax-free money if it's just all qualified dividends. If you're married, if you're single, it's like 50 grand or something like that. But quit your job, because that's the problem. The jobs get taxed the highest out of anything. This is the reason why, Buffett paid less taxes than his secretary got paid, or paid less taxes than his secretary paid, because it's all investment income for him, and you shovel that in different places and all that, not take any, could just reinvest it all over. So he takes his salary or something like that. It keeps it below the threshold. And back then you could donate boatload of money, and then even lower your beyond. If you donated, you can lower your tax rate below 15%. That's how Romney did it, right? How does Mitt Romney pay less than 15%? Because it's all investment income, and then he donated a boatload of money. That lowers your tax rate even more. So, anyways,
yeah. Well, another way to do it is just to have it all into retirement accounts, but traditional IRAs, you're just pushing taxes off to the future. Roth IRAs, you're paying taxes on the money you're putting in. There's no getting away from it unless, like you said, like Dave says, quit your job. Keep your income low is another. I mean, that's a strategy. If you can keep your income under a certain threshold, you'll definitely, stick it to the man.
I said specifically, how do you avoid a big tax bill? Don't have a lot of income.
Don't have a lot of income. Yeah, exactly.
Don't have a lot of realized income. And like I said, quit your job. You got to quit your 9 to 5 because that's the problem. That's the biggest problem. But I understand it. You have to have a 9 to 5 to get that seed money to make investment money, right? Or to get money to invest to make investment money. It's the problem is you just, like I said, I've said it in other streams before too. You need to get in and get out as fast as you can. So that means make as much money as you possibly can in the shortest amount of time, transfer to freaking investments, and then just live off your investments, and then you won't be taxed as high. And if you did it right, you wouldn't be taxed really at all.
And Dave is not saying do some risky crap.
No, and I'm not saying tax evasion here either. This is all completely legit. And you can go live overseas and stuff too. And I mean, it's just there's ways around it. It's the problem is ordinary or earned income is taxed the highest. The working man's a chump. It's not gonna lie about it. I'm a working man. I'm a chump. Jeez. Working man, a chump. We pay the most taxes. Are you trying to delay paying taxes until retirement? No. I've been paying taxes since I've been working, since I worked at that Burger King freaking back in 1993. I've been paying taxes. There's no way around it. You got to quit working if you want to pay taxes.
My tax strategy is to have enough money to pay them when they're due. That's pretty much my tax strategy.
I don't have a problem with paying as I go, but I pay a lot of taxes, and I don't see a dime of that back ever, zero. I don't get stimulus checks. I don't get free healthcare. I don't get nothing. So it's a lot of freaking money, and I don't agree with how they spend my money. So that's a problem. I'm sure a lot of people agree with me with that one. So the trick is and people can say, and they shame you, right? I've said this in the other stream. They shame you into paying taxes too, like pay your fair share. Like you're not, because we all have to pay our fair. That's bull crap. There's no, look at when the Fed taxes started, like 1930 or whatever the hell, 1930. I don't know when it started, the IRS started, but they shame you. Like, do your fair part, pay your fair share, it's like, that's not true. That's bullshit, actually. And I hate, because a lot of people probably agree with that. They think that you should pay your fair share. What about the roads and the bridges? Well, yeah, $3 trillion. How much is that going to roads and bridges?
Yeah, roads should be freaking perfect. They're not.
Well, isn't what the gas tax was for? Right? Isn't gas tax supposed to pay for roads and bridges and crap? Would any of you fine gentlemen consider selling far out cover calls on a long-term position on VTI? Are we getting back to long-dated shit again?
That's a no again.
Yeah, well, Nusi does it for you. You don't need to do shit on Nusi.
I say no. You don't know. Again, you don't know what a lot can happen in 6 months, 12 months.
The thing is, it's like you're with VTI and VU. I haven't looked at those ones specifically, but I bet you can't get very high.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you can't get very high on those. So it's just be like, yeah, you're wasting money if you're going to do that, in my opinion. VYM, like I got pushed out to 30 days, and that didn't even work sometimes. So I had to go to 60 days, and I got ran over. Just blew past my strike, and you're not going to want to deal with that, especially in VTI and VU. Those just let them sit out there. Do some cover calls and other stuff. No comment. Futu to the moon. So that's interesting. So there's other people doing Futu besides George? I've never heard of that one. So
Yeah, me neither.
what would Keanu Reeves do? Keep it above 55. Let's see here. We got another one from MDB. Is there an index fund that exclusively or heavily trades options? I'm thinking out loud, trying to figure if there's a way to automate. Automate what first?
But yes,
I don't think
it's called QILD, RYLD, XYLD. That's all they do is options.
New C, Jeffy.
UC. Yep. Well, that's not all.
They're all
Jeff
doing
did,
slightly different strategies, but
that is your automation right there.
yeah. Well, I'm kind of curious, trying to figure out if there's a way to automate. What are you trying to automate? Right, making money. I mean, what are you trying to automate? What Gerry and I do, and some of these other people, Thumper and stuff, and
there's not really a cash secured put option ETF out there.
No. You want to automate? Get the Theta Gang bot. How is SPY different from VU?
Options.
The same damn thing, really.
Yeah.
It's just
liquidity.
Different companies.
No,
one's
it's just
Vanguard. One's what is that? Spider.
One Spider. I mean, it's just liquidity as far as options are concerned. If you want to trade options, definitely go with SPY. It costs a little bit more, but if you just want buy and hold, go with VU since the expense ratio is lower.
Yep. And then you got SPX too. Let's see. Can also move to state with better tax. Yeah, well, we didn't even touch on different states. I was specifically talking about the federal taxes, but it's a smart thing to do if you're going to retire to move to a freaking tax-free state. There's 8 of them right now. Okay, we just had another one added. Was there 8 or was it 7? Tennessee got added, by the way. So Tennessee used to only tax capital gains and investment income, and then legislation a few years ago changed, and they've been bleeding it out. I think last year or this year was the last year they bled it out, so you don't pay any income tax in Tennessee on investment income, but they do tax food, which is interesting because I've never lived in a state where they actually tax your food. That's actually a bad tax too, because it hurts poor people.
Exactly.
Right? It's a progressive, it really hurts poor people. Rich people can afford it. Like the amount of money I'd save in property tax living in Tennessee and state tax, I can afford the tax on my food. How much am I going to spend on food every year? $5-6 grand. You pay tax on that, right? 7%. That's not that bad. So that's kind of a sad thing that they do there. You can get it other ways, but that's a good. That's the reason why people move out of California. That's the reason why they move out of Oregon. That's the reason why they go to Florida. That's the reason why they go to Texas, right? Because there's no state tax in either of those states. Washington's in Wyoming. Was it South Dakota?
I believe so.
Let's see. Texas, Tennessee, Florida. Is it New Hampshire?
I was going to say there's one in the Northeast. I think that's
New Hampshire, Alaska. There you go. Doesn't give you a lot of options, honestly. I wish some more states would do it. Pay your fair share, often heard from the jobless. Oh, man. You're just poking the bear there, aren't you, Randy? That's true. Sooner or later, you're gonna run out of other people's money. Thoughts on Chinese stocks? Selling any options on foreign stocks? I do like some Chinese stocks. Baba, for example. Baba, if you're Kyle. Because I heard him say that, a couple of days ago. I'm like, what the hell's Baba? I've never heard of that before. Baba or Baba? I like Baidu. TSM. Is it TSM or SHM or whatever? Was that a
TSM.
TSM? There's another one too. Let's see. Yeah, I'm running out. I'm really running out, Gerry.
There's JD.com.
Not Luckin, not
Not
NIO.
looking. Although I did buy on Friday, I bought, or it was the Thursday or Friday, I bought a Leap on 10-cent music. So
You bought a Leap.
I
Interesting.
bought a Leap. It's been trending
Figure it
down.
out.
It's pretty much pretty low at. I don't remember if it's at 52-week lows, but I did buy a Leap. I'm not going to sell calls against it. I'm just sitting on it.
Did you 2023s?
2023s
Did you go at the money or did you go up?
at the. I think I went 15.
What did that cost you?
I think it costed me $680. I think $680 for 2 leaps.
Interesting.
2 contracts.
Okay. Well, I have an account that I'd probably do that in, but it's invested in Snow Leap right now, so it's pretty much all used. Fukushima. Let's see here. Futu is like the Charles Schwab of China. Okay. Quite cheap for kind of, yeah. The problem is like, God, I don't trust it. I just don't.
Yeah. It says right there, it's really a bet on the Chinese middle class. Yeah.
I don't even trust the rich people there.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that I'm against China. It's just look at history here. Look at how much manipulation and market manipulation, currency manipulation they do. To me, it's just scary. I wouldn't want to be in a very small cap stock like that. That's ran up that high, like $21 billion, and if things ran up, right, it's probably not worth like $5 billion. And yeah, whether it's a Charles Schwab or not, it's like, is it a legit company? Is FDIC sure? Is it SPAC? It's like all that crap that we have here, to prevent that, manipulation and all that crap. I mean, it's still manipulate here, but I want to stick to the Babas. I want to stick to, the $500 billion companies, right? I don't know how big Baba is, but let me look at Baba.
It's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big one. That's pretty much it's 646 billion. Baidu is like kind of like their Google, if I'm not mistaken. So it's very similar to like our Google.
There's also Baidu.
Yeah, I just said Baidu.
Oh, did you say Baidu? I was thinking
Baidu or Baidu?
Those get me confused. Baba and Baidu.
Baidu is it's the equivalent to like their Google. It's nowhere near as big as a Google, but Baba's is probably the number one stock I would actually touch in China. I was joking when I said Futu to the moon. Do not BTFD it. Buy the freaking dip. That's what that stands for. At least I know what elbow cough is now. Sky Investor. Let's see here. Haven't seen you in a while, buddy. Hey, bro, entering your IG. It's not to me. Square and PayPal are here to stay. That's an interesting one because I've been using PayPal since 2000 when I bought something on eBay back in 2000 and they wanted me to pay with PayPal. And I'm like, what the hell is this crap? Why did I sign up for this shit? I signed up for it and I never stopped using PayPal since.
Yeah.
So I've sold a lot of shit on PayPal. I've bought a lot of shit on PayPal. So when eBay bought PayPal, I'm like, oh, this is cool. They tried to start their own to combat PayPal called BidPay, and it was unsuccessful, right? Even eBay couldn't freaking take out PayPal with BidPay. So they bought PayPal, and then they split them up. And
Yeah,
so I've always been a PayPal fan compared to Square. And I've always seen Square as like something you put on your phone and you swipe your freaking credit card through it. That's always seen Square. So that's just where I'm sitting at on those two.
Yeah, I'm a big PayPal guy. I have been actually selling some puts on that a couple of times here in the past couple of months, but like you, I've been using PayPal forever. But I do prefer Venmo, which is a PayPal product, by the way. But as far as using and receiving money, I prefer Venmo because it's free.
Do they say that by minute at the bottom of it? Like,
I don't
Venmo,
think so.
PayPal. I'm not saying Square's a piece of shit by any means. I sell puts against that thing all the time. I'm just saying I've never used any of their products ever. A Cash App, nothing. I don't, you know what I mean? Like I listen to music that has Cash App in it, but that's about it. Great breakdown of SPY and VU. Hey, we had a market scraper on earlier. If you didn't see the video or didn't catch him when he was on, go ahead and watch the replay
Rewind.
Yeah, rewind. True, $110 trillion market cap for fintech. Plenty of room for all. Is fintech Futu?
No, I think Square and PayPal.
I put an offer on for a house in no income tax state today, but I lost. It's tough right now. I don't know what state you're talking about, but it had been one of those 8 states or 9. It's 9 states now, or whatever. It's one of those. It's tough. I mean, stuff that would sit on a market for 6 months to a year in Tennessee, 20 acres with a house on it or whatever, would sit on the market for 6, 7, 8, 9 months. They're having offers like on in a few days.
Yep.
It's tough all over. You got people moving out of these quote unquote shit states. I'm going to call them that just because they got crappy politics that force people out of there. Like it is what it is. You got homeless problems and all these other problems. Those people are moving out to cheap states. They're paying cash for the house. You know what I mean? And they're all tax-free states. A lot of them are, right? Florida and Texas and Tennessee, and probably not many people move in Alaska, but so it's a great migration going on right now. It's making it tough for me to get in a house where I want to buy a house. Look at Arizona. It's not a tax-free state, by the way. Mentioning, hey, we're going to build some foundries out here. Those house you could get for $300,000 there, they're $500,000 now in like a suburb of Phoenix.
Hope you like heat.
And no water.
Yeah.
No tax state equals higher sales tax. Not always true. It is true in Washington. Took a Washington state, their sales tax is like 10% in some places. You buy something on Amazon, it gets shipped to you, it's 10% That sucked too, because I used to work out there 6 months out of the year, and I'd buy shit from Amazon, and I'm like, I got to pay 10%. What the? You know what I mean? Like 10% is crazy, and that's the reason why people drive to Oregon and buy shit there. There's no sales tax there.
Yeah, exactly.
Randy does bring up a good point, though. Some other way, they're getting you some other way, right? Texas has high property taxes, but if you're over 65, I think you get homestead or whatever status and not pay very much. We're talking like in Tennessee, you can own 40 acres, have a house on it. You pay less than $1,000 in most places in Tennessee for property taxes. You go to Pennsylvania or some of those New England states, you'll pay like upstate New York and crap. You'll pay 15, 20 grand for property taxes. That's the reason why the house prices are like, 150 grand or whatever, because you're paying, $20,000, $30,000 in property taxes. Move to a state that, meets all the requirements you want weather-wise, and kind of fight your battles with the taxes. Like I said, Tennessee, they're going to tax your food, but 7% on food, $5,000, not that bad. Like the amount of money you save in state tax, right? Being taxed on, You know, if you make 100 grand or something, you're working remote, you make 100 grand. That's a lot of freaking money you're paying. You know, like in California, it's like what, 8% for state tax
more.
or whatever. Probably minimum, right?
Yeah, probably.
It's definitely got to be a part of your retirement strategy to think about all
Yeah.
that stuff.
You definitely have to look at all that stuff, especially in retirement. That becomes real important because then you start collecting Social Security. Then you start getting, I mean, we're way off of that, but you start collecting your RMDs, and next thing you know, you're paying taxes again and you're getting
A
screwed.
lot too.
Yeah, a lot.
Some states, there are some states that tax Social Security.
Mhm.
You got to make sure you look at you got to make sure you find a state that meets all the requirements that you want and kind of weigh the pros and cons and compromise there. I don't think every state's going to have everything that you want, but some states tax Social Security too, so you need to check that. Some will tax pension, some will tax, you know, what other income too. With interactive brokers, is it possible to have multiple accounts with different logins? Do they allow that? Yeah, they do. Yeah, the thing is yeah, I had 2 accounts and it was a separate login, separate password, everything. Man, they weren't linked at all. So Schwab, like if I log in with one login, I can see both accounts there. So then I don't know if you can do that in Interactive Brokers. I know Invest Retire says that you can, but I haven't seen it. I only have one account with Interactive Brokers right now anyway.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want my long-term holds in Interactive Brokers anyhow.
I agree, especially if they're dividend stocks.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you're doing better, brother. He's doing good. He looked good last night. He's telling jokes and shit. So, yeah, shit. I think Futu owns Mumu. Oh man, that's funny. Mumu is a broker, by the way. So that's interesting. So George kind of up arrowed at that. Yeah, I'm familiar with Mumu and in Webull, and the reason I didn't like either of those is because they're owned by the Chinese, even though they have like a shell company here to make it look like it's not. Well, at least Webull did. But they're both Chinese-based companies, and to me, it's like, why would you do that? Yeah. Let's see here. I see a lot of guys buying QLD. I believe you do, too, Gerry. Curious about why it's so popular. It pays. It's the high yield. That's why it's popular. That's probably the only reason why. I don't think people even really know what it really does. A lot of people don't even really know what it does behind the scenes. Pays monthly and it has a high yield. There you go.
That's the top 2 requirements. That's why SPHD is popular too.
That's true. What would you rather be in?
That's a tough one.
Did I stump Gerry?
Let's see. Considering my portfolio now, dang.
It's like they're both shit in a way, in my opinion. In a way, they're both kind of crappy, right? It's like which one's better crap? Which one's worse? Which one's not as bad crappy?
Me personally, I'd probably be an SPHD because I got NUSI already with a high yield, and I have my cash secured puts putting out a high yield per se as well. So I don't really need. Let me
help the chat folks out here. Let's say you didn't have any ETFs yet. You weren't doing options. Then what would you get into?
And I had to pick between the 2. Oh.
There we go. Now we get to the nitty gritty.
I don't know. I'd probably if you got me a couple years ago, I'd be all over QILD. But the fact that I know what QILD is now and how it could behave in market corrections, dang it, they both do though. I'm going to say SPHD.
Okay.
Because you get exposure to actual equities.
Okay, fair enough. And honestly, there was a time where SPHD was probably okay too. The problem is it probably had never been through a correction before. So you didn't realize how high volatility it really is. And honestly, a lot of the holdings were just kind of not really quality holdings. You know, they got like the Comcast of the world and there's the top 100 or top. There's only 50 something stocks in there. Like the top one is like Comcast, you know, or UPS or something. You piece of shits, by the way. Evening, boys. Rebecca is in the house. I don't know if you're working tonight, Rebecca. It's making it tough for my real estate goals. Yeah. Let's see here. I live in Chandler, Arizona. Real estate here is out of control. Yeah, I blame partially part of Intel as part of it. Not to mention the great migration coming out of most likely California, and I don't know where else they're coming from. Well, I take that back. I know officially some people that are moving out of Oregon down to Arizona.
Yeah,
but
yeah, the
most
whole
of it's
West
coming from
Coast.
California.
Yeah, the entire West Coast is kind of migrating in a little bit.
I renewed 83%.
I live in Central California, and I always drive by a U-Haul center, and
It's empty.
it's really light in trucks, right? It used to be just jam packed. You couldn't fit another freaking truck in that dang thing. Now it's like almost like wide open. It's easy to navigate. It's they have very few trucks available. It's interesting. It really is.
And when is it going to stop? I don't think it's going to anytime soon. Which sucks because I wanted to move to one of those other states, that had no income tax and it met all the requirements that I wanted. And, it's like, Jesus, I mean, it's hard now to find anything. Like, I'm suck. What crappy timing. I'll have to move to freaking Alaska, the last frontier.
I was considering Texas. It's still on my list. I mean, it's going to be years before I go anywhere. But Texas has actually fallen down my ranking order recently. So
not only partially because of the politics, right? Like the state is in danger of becoming not the great state that it was, right? The whole reason why we love Texas to begin with is because it was Texas, right? Now it's it's like 56% freaking red. And maybe some people in here are Democrats. That's fine. But why move there and change the state, the great state the way it was, and make it a crappy state where you just came from, right? That's common sense.
That begs the question. If I wait long enough, will, California become destroyed by everybody leaving and then new stuff
go back?
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. I mean, if California ever got rid of all the cancer and actually fixed a lot of the issues that it had, because I mean, I was born and raised in California, all right? I lived there for 30-something years. I can speak about California, okay? That is one of the reasons why it forced me out of the state, because of the insane stuff that they do there, and they just don't even take care of their people, which is even more sad. But it's like I don't think it's unrepairable, and unfortunately, a lot of those people are moving to other states, and they're ruining great states. I don't know how else to say it. Arizona was a great state. It was great. It's almost in California. Sorry, I'm in Colorado. Colorado was a great state at one point. I love this state, but it's really, from politics perspective, it's insane. I have to move out of this state at this point. It's sad too, because these states are great states, and then they just end up changing and making it a crappy state eventually. But Jesus, I think that's a little too off in the weeds. My property taxes are about $700 a year, I think. There you go, folks, right there. There's a good example. North Carolina is not. I think it leans red, but just imagine, you got all those people moving from New York down there, changing that state. It takes a long time. It doesn't happen overnight, right? Like, they move down there, the state becomes blue, and then taxes, get raised. They add tax here. They never take taxes away. When have you ever seen taxes go away? Damn, Gerry.
Sorry, I didn't.
Is that a hog?
Yeah, I got my front door open. I live in a
When
great
have you ever seen
area.
a tax that they raise ever go away? right? They never go away ever, right? We have what, E470 here, which portion of it was paid for private money, and then portion of it was paid by the state. So there's one portion of the E470 that's not toll, right? And then the other portion that was private, that's toll. That toll has never gone away ever. They've paid for it probably like 3 times over at this point, but the toll never goes away. So just think about that. You got people move from New York down to North Carolina. It takes time. It becomes a blue state. You're going to, let's raise taxes here, and eventually it becomes like it is in California or New York, the same place that people move from to begin with, right? And guess what? Rebecca's going to have to move because her taxes will go up. It's not going to be 700, it'll be 7,000. It'll take a lot of years to get there, but it'll happen. I'm in Houston. I got one Honeywell contractor just go back from Arizona and said, folks, property is going out of control. Yeah.
Yeah, right there. He says Austin went up. One property, Austin went up 400,000 in 1 year. Austin, Texas has gone crazy.
Austin is the hotbed too. Yeah. It kind of makes sense. It's literally probably the most liberal place actually in Texas. So it kind of makes sense. If we could have saw this coming, man, we could have made some money, huh? Florida. I hope my flips go up. You guys are still on tonight. Well, that means you left. That means you got to go back and watch the replay. Why are y'all against long-term holds with IB? Oh, well, good question. Depends on what stocks you're in, number one. If you're in dividend-paying stocks, they don't fractional drip. They didn't when I was in them anyway, just a year ago or two.
Yeah, they didn't. I had some long-term stocks. I had some dividend stocks in there when I got into IB in November, December. And yeah, if you can't drip a full share with the dividend, you just get paid in cash, and that's not good.
That's the reason why I got out of IB for my retirement dividend portfolio. They weren't fractional dripping. All right, later. That's when I opened up the Schwab account. You need fractional drip. I just did a video on it this weekend. Drip and Kager. Talked exactly about that. Do I own? Yes, I do own Jeppy. I just started a position in it. I got $20-something thousand in it right now. I don't know where. I'm still filling stuff out, figuring out where I want to put stuff, and a lot of it has to do with I'm going to retire next year, and I need that income. So, and honestly, 3% wasn't cutting it for me because that was split across, retirement and non-retirement. Like I can't live off of that, and I don't trust myself. It's just it's a mental game. I could put it all in VU and be fine, just subtract, $40,000 a year and be fine. But it's a mental game for me to have actual dividends and income coming in that I can draw off of. And until the portfolio gets to be too big to fail and I can start getting out of some of these, Jeppies and Newsies and stuff, I'll probably keep money in there, and then stick it into more, VUs and VTIs. What's your first trade you guys are going to make tomorrow morning? Shit, Jerry.
I'm going to trade my bed for my office chair. But other than that, I have no idea. I'm hoping the Tesla I sold on Friday is up 50% on Monday.
The first thing I do is I run my script here, and it runs and it kind of orders all the positions I have by P&L percentage. And then the very lowest one, the very bottom one in there is the stock that's the highest up, which right now is STZ, which I can't even take off. But I look at that first. I take off the stuff that needs to be taken off, and then I start trying to worry about put stuff back on. We still need to get past earnings. That's the problem right now. The bulk of earnings don't start next week, they're the week after for some of the companies I want. So until that happens, I've been putting a lot of ETFs on. Nah, I'm off tonight, celebrating a bit. You're drinking, aren't you? I know you're drinking. What you drinking? 10% FI now. Portfolio hit 120. I swear to God, just 2 months ago, you were like just broke 100. You're
Yeah.
already at freaking 120. Look how fast that happens, folks. Once you
Congrats.
start freaking tracking it, look how fast it goes up, right? That's what's happening in North Carolina now. Everyone from New York and New Jersey moving here. Yep. Yeah, in Maryland, Maryland, New Jersey, New York, probably parts of Virginia. I mean, yeah, you can go one state over, West Virginia, and you're fine. There's probably no jobs there, though. You can work remote, though. That's the thing. That's kind of changed everything. North Dakota is a really good state to live in. Yeah, I don't know if I can do North Dakota. There is one, the city of Keene? Is it Keene? It's like the last, it's like a live and let live city in North Dakota, if I'm not mistaken. It's like the
Too
last.
Much snow.
Well, yeah, it is. It's a tough area to live. It's beautiful up there, though. You'll see it in my my AT videos when I make on my other channel. When I get up there, anyway. Let's see here. It is what it is, though. That's my saying. Since you aren't a libertarian. Let's see. Since I'm a libertarian, my vote is always wasted, right? True libertarians actually don't even vote, I think, because number one, the libertarian is never going to win, and they take the vote away from the Republicans. And honestly, the Republicans are closer to libertarian than the Democrats are, right? So
yeah, you got nobody to vote for.
Yeah,
That's
no.
the
Well,
problem.
Ron Paul's gone. He's not going to run. You had, what the hell is that freaking guy's name? Ross Perot back in the day.
Yeah.
Probably the strongest candidate ever that actually could have, if he didn't drop out and then come back in, he probably would have been the highest ever.
They can't run under a libertarian ticket, though.
No.
It's a waste.
What they need to do is they need to run as a conservative and then flip-flop when they get in office like Biden did.
Exactly.
So, because Biden was a moderate, now he's not. Not even close to a moderate. And if you're watching CNN, you won't even realize that. There's so much news that CNN doesn't report on. You probably don't even know there's a crisis at the border, right? There's a lot of stuff that they leave out. It's kind of scary because it's so easy to watch a news network that agrees with you 100%. It doesn't tick you off. It doesn't challenge you. You don't get your blood boiled, but you're missing out on 50% of the real news that's out there.
Yeah.
Think about that. Let's see. California people are ruining Texas and Arizona. I completely agree. Look at Austin. That place has been Californiaized for quite a while, unfortunately. I'll try to get to the bottom here. We've been going for 2 hours and 17 minutes here, and I'm trying to get to the bottom, and we'll close it out. Just got to the live stream, trying to catch up with the video using 2x speed. New York City property tax is crazy. Yeah. And they kicked out Amazon. AOC kicked out Amazon. I mean,
we don't need jobs. We don't need jobs here.
Just think about it. What are you doing? We're giving some tax breaks, but look at all these people that could have benefited from those major jobs that would have been there, right? Would have probably created a housing boom. Now they're going through a housing crisis, right? One mistake. Yeah, SALT definitely hurt some of those states that have really high property tax for sure. Those people those states are like, begging to get SALT back at this point because they're like, we tax you $20,000 a year. You have no kids and $7,000 of that goes to the schools. You have 0 kids though, right? I mean, come on. China is up in morning trade. Okay, that's good. Right now, let me see, where are futures? Futures are, whatever. 80 points down, no big deal. Let's see here. Every tax, including property tax in Illinois, is insane. That's an Obama state.
Literally.
I'm not gonna, yeah. Why do you still live there then? That's my question. Austin will easily double. Oh man. Yeah. Well, guess what's gonna if Austin doubles, guess what's gonna happen? What's the next suburbs after Austin? Right? Waco. Waco will increase. Everything's gonna increase outside of there. It's gonna spread and spread and spread. So when I lived in Illinois, I didn't know you lived there. Our property tax was 25K. There you go. That's exact example I was exactly talking about right there.
Living in a mansion?
25K in property tax. What do you get for that?
Unfixed roads.
Oh, you get a bunch of murders at night. I have 2 long-term positions with IB. Well, I don't know. I don't understand why you have both.
Yeah.
Or wait, no, you don't have both. He says he has both. Which one? You have both or not? VTI encompasses VU, almost all of it. But VU doesn't encompass VTI.
Yeah.
3,000 stocks versus 500, I think, right?
Yeah.
So if you're in VTI, you have VU. If you're in VU, you don't have VTI. They're both good. I don't think you go wrong with either one. They both make you a millionaire over time, I think. Have you looked at any of the stable coins that pay between? No. So what is that, staking? Or, I mean, what are we talking about here? I didn't know coins paid other than staking. We're dumb.
Keto waffles.
Yeah, keto waffles. It's usually, you make them in different ways, but eggs, cream cheese is one way with almond flour, and there's other ways you can make them too. A lot of times it's always eggs and something else. Sometimes you can put protein powder in there and stuff, but I didn't know you were keto either. Because I know you make videos once in a while. Yeah, I fell off the rocker today and I bought some Krispy Kreme. You've done that in your videos. I have 2 long-term positions with IB. New positions got in last week. What would you recommend you do? Should I move them? We just set them. I would get out of. Honestly, you don't need to own both of those in the same account. I would say put VTI or VU in your retirement, and then the opposite in the other. That's fine, but I don't see why you would own both in the same account. There's no reason to. You don't need both. There you go. Exactly. Tam, hey, haven't seen you in a while. Greetings. Let's see here. I'm hoping Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson runs for office. He could actually probably run. He's popular enough. It's all about having your name known, right? That's the reason why Hillary Clinton became the SCOTUS, right? It was to get her name out there, more known. Everybody knew who Donald Trump was, right? That's the reason why Arnold Schwarzenegger won from, recall Gray Davis, right? Because, he was known, right? So it's all about being known, right? And he's known. He could probably make it pretty darn far. Blah, blah, blah. I voted for Joe. You're not a libertarian. Yeah, well, he fooled you. He fooled you. Let's see. Is this 14K last week? Now I'm going to close to 15K. I think you're up. Is that what you're talking about? We had Johnson back in 2016. I'm not following that one. North Dakota is building an Amazon warehouse. Who else is getting one? Didn't All Good say they're building one in Texas?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, a bunch.
Trying to build a second one here too.
In California?
In Central California, where I'm at.
Why not put it in freaking Sparks, Nevada? Another one. Well, didn't Tesla move to or build something out in Texas as well?
Yeah, I think with us, it's due to ports.
Let's see. Yeah, I do too. Let's see. I cheated and bought a frozen keto. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know which brand you bought. I bought the same ones. I buy them every once in a while because I'm lazy to make my own sometimes. So those are just kind of just easy. You can make, and you could have, what is it called? Landco or whatever. Freaking, it's like a maple syrup. It tastes exactly like maple syrup. Let's see here. So with silicone going to Austin and these companies working remote, with time will Cali real estate come down? I would say so. If nobody, some people don't remember, but I lived close to the Bay Area in 2001. Okay, that was the lowest those real estate prices had ever been. That you could buy like a $750,000 house probably for $200,000 back in like 2001, 2001 in the Bay Area. That's the worst that area has ever seen. Even worse than 2008. I would say, yeah. Would I invest in a real estate? I honestly, I don't know if I would ever invest in real estate ever again in my life, the rest of my life. But if it was a good enough deal, I would consider it. Do you think Newsom will lose his recall election? I hope so. If you actually think Newsom's done a good job, like, thumbs up the video. I guess that means nobody's going to thumb up the video.
Yeah, but, gonna get a bunch of thumbs down.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Cuomo, did he do a good job? I thought so at first, but there's always smoke and mirrors. You just don't know the whole story. That's the problem. The narrative that TV puts out is the wrong thing to believe. Newsom's done. Just get rid of the dude. He's a piece of crap in my opinion. He's related to Pelosi. That's partially the reason why. But is GW's wife allowed in the man's cave?
Yeah, she is. She has a desk right over there. So
wait, does it say women's cave over there?
Nope.
Let's see. What is the downside of owning both? It's no real downside, I guess. It's just extra, like it does. What? I don't know. You answer that one, Gerry.
The downside is just redundancy.
Two extra positions you don't need, or one extra position you don't need.
You don't need to, well, how do you decide to buy which one?
Yeah, I don't think there's any real downside, but there's no upside really either. So, is tattered chest a good option play? Yeah, I don't know.
Not for me.
Is that T?
I think it's SPAC, ain't it? Or was a SPAC?
It was. Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Probably got juicy premiums though.
Yeah, we'll have to ask Allgood about that one then. Waco, yeah, there you go. Texas, Austin's going to spread out. Can't afford anything in there. It's just like it happens everywhere. Orange County is the place to be, right? You can't afford Orange County. Guess what? You're willing to drive an hour to get to work on 55 and 91. Yeah. Like going through Inland Empire. Like, I used to live in that area. That's a treacherous commute. Man, people, that's because they wanted to buy a house, right? So in order to buy a house, you got to go out to Lancaster and buy a house out there. Well, guess what? Lancaster used to be the boonies. Nothing there. Desert wasteland. That place is like booming now, right? Fresno. I mean, Fresno is kind of, is it all filled in? Pleasanton, all the way out to where you're at?
No, not even. No. It's still, I mean, you can go on I-5, down I-5, and it's just freaking nothing.
Yeah. That's still, it'd take a long time to get there to fill that in. Crime and taxes will increase in California, so I wouldn't buy any of it. Yeah, that's sure.
It's already happening.
If you live in no income tax state, so you only file, yes, that's correct. When IB doesn't allow DRIP, how will that negatively affect long-term Vanguard holds? Will I be paying more taxes? No, you wouldn't be paying more taxes. There's kind of two drips in a way. Originally there was a drip where you can like contact, like the company directly or whatever, and they directly invest back into the stock. It didn't hit your account, and then your broker reinvested it, right? But I don't know anybody that does that. I don't even know if that's even an option anymore. So the money goes in your account, right? You're going to pay taxes on that at the end of the year. Qualified dividends, 15%, unless Biden raises it up, which I hope he doesn't. But 15% qualified dividend, it gets reinvested, depending on what broker you're in, back into the same stock. If you're in like a certain broker like TD Ameritrade, for example, you might have an option to what stock that would go back into, because they have like a bucket for dividends and all that goes in there, and then you kind of can pick and choose with percentages and all that. M1's very similar to that too, in a way.
Yeah. So negative is that if the share price is $100 and you get paid a $99 dividend, it's not going to be reinvested.
Nope.
Or
sit there.
Yep. Or if the share price is $100 and you get $199 dividend, it will buy one share and put $99 in cash. So your money's not working at its full capacity.
I had somebody comment, I disagree with it, but I understand. You got to understand. I understand why people do it, right? Just like we understand why people do spreads, okay? And I got dead skin apparently on my lip, but which I always do. I'm dry, I guess. But the guy said he prefers to put the money back into the stocks on his own and not drip. And I've heard people with that argument a lot, right? You get paid $2,000 this month in dividends and they want to build a new position, but they don't have enough yet. They want to save that money up and, a couple of months and then start a new position. This 4 or 5 months there, it's not being reinvested. You're not making any money on it. It's not being compounded. You're not making dividends off that money. It's just sitting there doing nothing for you. So I kind of disagree with that a little bit. And the other argument is what if you're in a coma? What if you got incapacitated? What if you died and somebody forgot about that account for 10 years? The money's just sitting there. It's not being reinvested, right? That money, that account would be huge, huge, There's a reason why it goes in order, right? The people that have died, that people don't even know about that account, have the biggest account returns in out of everybody, right? Versus those people that forget about their accounts, and then maybe after that, people that maybe rebalance once a year, right? The people that died have the biggest returns, and after that, the people that forgot about the accounts have the biggest returns. So you want to have that money reinvesting. Imagine not having that turned on, and you're in a coma for 10 years. You get out of the coma and you can't pay your freaking medical bills because your money's just sitting there and not doing anything for you. Gary Johnson, former governor of New Mexico. I liked Gary Johnson. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. He was before, he came after Ron Paul. I liked him. He just, unfortunately, he's just not going to make it. Who's the other person? I always forget his name. It drives me nuts. I'll probably think about it like at the last minute or something. Vegas coming back strong. Yeah, Vegas is like insane. Yeah, it was a desert wasteland in like 2008 to 11. You buy a property there super cheap. It's not a tax-free state though. Unfortunately, Nevada used to be a pretty darn good state to live in, but it's kind of gotten ruined. Californians, what do you think? Good night, hot show tonight. Yeah, we're down to the bottom here, so we're going to call it. It's been 2 hours and 30 minutes, folks. Night, everybody. Thank you. Yeah, la, la, la. Dave and Gerry talking every week. Busy lives, yeah. You're welcome. I hear good, let's see here. I hear good things about Nevada. Vegas? Is that a joke or something? No, I guess he corrected it. I disagree with that. It wouldn't be a place I'd move to. One bit. Even though Bunny Ranch is still there. Freedom Seeker. Freedom, baby. Freedom. All right, folks. Hey, thanks a lot for everybody for joining, tuning in, watching Market Scraper. I'm going to try to get Thumper on next week. And, he's kind of a shy dude. So if you didn't see Market Scraper early on, go back and watch it. His section. I put his link down. I'll put his link. His link is down in the description, but his link is also, I put it in there a couple times in the chat as well, but it is down in the description. So, Gerry, you want any final words here?
Everybody, thanks for showing up. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for asking the questions. Check out Market Scraper. Subscribe to Dave. You should be subscribed to Dave already, but if you're not, subscribe to him. Subscribe to Market Scraper. Subscribe to me. We'll see you back here next Sunday. I'll be here, or I'll be square. So there you
go. Sorry, Mikaru. Watch the replay. We got a jam. I'd love to talk cats with you, but got a jam. We'll see y'all later. See you next week. Everybody have a great week, by the way.